Welcome to the Boys of Prey podcast. We just saw Spider-Man: No Way Home,
That's what we.
and yeah,
And a lot of
we
other
got a
movies.
lot to talk about. Very highly anticipated.
What should we start with?
I guess so. Do you guys like the previous two? Is it like a third movie in a trilogy?
I think it was a good third movie of the trilogy, but the trilogy, like the first two movies, was just they were just
Yeah.
If you couldn't change anything about the first two movies, that movie did what it could.
Yeah.
Does everyone think this is the best of the three? I think
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure on that.
I probably have to watch it again, just to like kind of now that I know everything that happens, the fan service that's in it.
Yeah, I was trying to think
Actually
stuff
watched the
through
movie.
parts of that, and then I was like, I don't really want to think about it. I just want to like focus on the next
Enjoy
like
myself.
time
I
something
think it was
talks.
carried a little bit by just constant like surprises,
References,
and happiness,
yeah.
and,
Oh, spoilers by the way for this.
A little late.
I'll put in the title. I'll put in the
We
title.
never said anything bad.
I think this trilogy is a downward slope for a while, and then keeps going down in this movie.
Till like the
Until
end.
the
At the
30
end.
minutes, there's just a
Yeah.
straight line up
Yeah.
to the top.
This trilogy since like Homecoming has been like
Yeah.
just on a downward spiral. I
Some
agree.
would think.
I guess it saves it. I don't know.
I don't know if it saves the whole thing,
It
but I'm
absolves
happy
it
on.
of saves
it
it
fi-
doesn't make it a good
It fixed
movie.
it, but it didn't like save what we've
I
been
think-
through.
I think it saved it in the sense that it just like made it like an origin trilogy,
Well, that doesn't-
Yeah.
which
that's-
doesn't make any
That's
sense.
such a stupid.
They like
I-
started the origin like 2 years into his.
Also,
This
they
is
did it in the
experience.
most complicated
Well, they-
way. Like some guy like was a bad guy and then he gets killed, but he makes this cool video that everyone believes, and then he like reveals Spider-Man.
That
and
doesn't even matter in this movie.
But like that
I mean,
was like the whole point of this movie.
It was.
Yeah,
I-
but then
I-
multiverse.
I think this is the first like time I've been excited for like where this version of Spider-Man is going. Cause like after Homecoming I was like no, and after Far From Home I was like
This should have been like a first movie thing, or how it ended.
Yeah.
That should have. I mean, I guess not. Really
it should we shouldn't have had to go through what we went through. But now that we're here, I'm glad where we
$1
ended
billion
up.
in box office revenue later.
Yeah.
They have their Spider-Man version.
I think it's kind of ridiculous that, like, you know, obviously it's the fan service, but also, like, anybody who hasn't seen the Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield stuff
Yeah.
wouldn't really even know what, like, any of those people come from or any of their, like,
I guess the same thing
backgrounds
can
in the
be said for
different universes.
Endgame though. It's very similar where like the
Yeah.
moments are cool and it caps off everything in a
but at
decent
least
way.
they
But
made
the
that
movie
in
it's,
their universe. They
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
relied on other people's work for it.
You're right. Do you want to get into it? Start with go through the movie like
Well,
chronologically?
I think we should probably note- or the- I want to say one more thing about the other ones. I think they're just like copy and paste movies, like Homecoming, and then Far From Home.
Those
are,
two
like,
are
nearly
extremely
the exact
similar.
Same, and they barely take place in New York. I mean, I guess the first one does, but it's in like Queens or whatever, so he doesn't even like swing on a building.
This one's similar, but it just does it better, and
Yeah.
not in terms of like writing, like things making sense,
It's
like
a different story. It's still shit.
Yeah.
But
but it did like the end game was better, like where it ended up.
yeah.
So, all right. So where does it start? Picks up right after Far From Home. His identity's out, and
They just flew through that.
which we knew they would.
Yeah, they could
'cause how else would they have done it?
A little more though.
Yeah. Oh, well, I like that they showed like his main goal for like doing this was just because it was like his friends and like aunt, but his aunt really was they didn't show her like dealing with anything really. She was like fine, but it was just Ned and MJ mainly aren't in college. MJ Watson, as they call her.
I feel like they could have done more like maybe they were threatened more as like friends.
Yeah, I would have liked it to be
Instead, they
shown a
were
little
just
bit
like,
more.
"Oh, we can't get in
I don't know.
college."
You can't come to our college.
I mean,
I got what they were going for, but I wanted to like see a little bit more of that.
But then at the end, okay, so at the beginning he like comes up to the woman, is like blah blah blah, and then saves her.
The MIT lady.
Person,
Yeah.
And then she's like, "All right, I'll rethink that." They like never come back to that.
I thought that was a little silly.
Like, what was the point of that?
I think they were like it was like supposed to be like a steady plot, and then like the multiverse kicks in and the plot like, goes
But
nuts.
that whole idea wasn't even resolved like through that admissions person. It was resolved because he erased everybody's minds. So what was the entire point? Of
I think it was just him trying to like make it right, and then
But
it
he
didn't.
made it right because she was like, "All right, I'll like,
Yeah.
do what I can," but that didn't even matter because he was.
I mean, I think it all like. I don't want to bring this up too much, but like as far as the plot goes, I think it's a little out of character for Doctor Strange to just do something like that, and like the guy who like I don't know, he seems mature and not.
Well,
I think they set it up a little better than they were saying in the trailers.
in the trailers, yeah. So
That's right.
he's like mad, and then he goes to Doctor Strange.
But Doctor Strange afterwards is like, you should have like tried talking to them, but like he didn't like give him some advice like, hey, you can't fix this, but like we can do this, this, and this, and then we can try
Yeah.
magic.
Well, the whole thing was just from him trying to be like he like wanted to have it his way, but like he was being kind of like selfish. He's like, oh, I want to keep it this way and not just this, and like that's what caused everything, which I think is good. Yeah, that was like I guess like fine, like a silly moment. Like he's like it's understandable. It's more understandable than what he does like later in the film with the villains, but
That was a silly moment.
yeah,
I don't know. Just that like driving force is questionable.
yeah, but.
How else are you gonna do that? I guess.
And then talking like messes up the spell because it's like
That's
Well, because you kept on having to add changes to it.
Yeah.
So obviously, it's started getting out of hand.
it made more sense in the movie.
it's just a good
But
movie.
I think it is kind of weird. But also, he was talking about how they did that spell at the new moon
The party? Yeah.
the full moon party. He's like, yeah, we did it that. So
But
I
they
don't think he
weren't-
thought
they
it was
weren't-
that serious.
Yeah.
Does it have to do with like anything else? Like is it unstable because of like Loki?
Yeah, they don't really go into that.
Is that like a? I mean, I feel
That
like
show's
that's a
in such a
stupid
weird
question,
place.
But like,
I don't think
They-
that has anything to do with
But it has everything to do with
That
it.
is
It's the
weird 'cause they were,
multiverse.
like
Like it
about
should.
to open up the multiverse, and then
Right.
and then they didn't. But
Like,
also, like, is it
no-
about
But
to?
also-
there was
open
no
up?
like people coming to like stop any of this from happening. Like
Maybe they could have done something where Doctor Strange was already like having a difficult time with like the multiverse beforehand because of Loki or something, and then Spider-Man like comes up with his problem, and then
Yeah.
he
It-
like accidentally like
it-
does some shit like that.
It does feel weird that the entire point of the Loki show existing is to make the multiverse, and then it's like not
They
really relevant.
introduced, like 3 other ways.
Yeah, and then also the next Marvel movie I think is Doctor Strange. I'd assume so. Multiverse of Madness. So I assume that's like all about how this movie like ended and stuff
Like
with the
a direct
multiverse.
sequel to
Yeah.
this fucking movie.
So, but anyways, villains get released, and Lizard's already caught, right? When it
Doctor
starts.
He's already
catches
caught.
Lizard.
Lizard and
That's it.
No, it's the other guy.
Dr. Octopus gets caught on the bridge.
Well, yeah, they fight
Wait,
on the
was
bridge.
it just Lizard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It was.
yeah,
It's kind of funny.
the bridge scene, Iron
It-
Spider suit still looks terrible.
Yeah.
Like
I thought he was
always.
gonna get it again when he was like putting it back on him.
Oh,
So, I
oh.
don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you think the de-aging CG looked good on Doc Ock?
Did they really DH him that much?
He's not super old. Neither is Willem Dafoe.
I
I
mean,
mean, they're old, but they don't like look super old.
I mean, yeah,
I
it
didn't
didn't look
notice.
like they
Yeah.
really that. I don't know.
I think that looked good. Other CG didn't, but
He was wearing a shirt for some
I
reason.
think Willem
So I
Dafoe
guess
looked
it's a
more
different Doc Ock.
like unstable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
oh, wait, actually no. When they first introduced Willem Dafoe, we were both like,
Oh my
he
God,
looked,
the
his face
CG.
looked weird.
the Green Goblin, like on the
The
bridge.
suit was like, not maybe not the suit part, but his helmet was fully CG.
In
It
the
looked
on the
like-
dumpster, is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
That was just so dog shit.
And then he destroys it.
What was the point of that?
Oh, I don't understand why.
Why
I
was
know
he-
he's-
To show there's like a fight between, like,
But there
you know, there's
wasn't.
still like the
There
good,
was there.
there's still the good Osborn.
That
in it.
whole thing seemed like incomplete.
They didn't
Like
need
it
it
didn't
to.
really resolve very well. Like he just.
We're
I don't know why they
bringing
went
that
into
character in like the way he is from Spider-Man 1 into this movie and like trying to continue like
His
the
development.
dual like Osborn and like the Goblin are both like trying to like it's like a dual identity thing where he's crazy, and I don't know. I guess I need to like rewatch or like remember more specifically moments,
I mean,
but
it wasn't like a good person per se. Like,
Yeah.
Before he was like crazy. He was
Yeah.
still like a businessman and like a
Broomer
scientist.
fast.
Like he was still like an asshole, and then they brought him back in there, and they made his character like understanding or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess they were trying to make
Yeah.
him like a.
Was he faking it at the beginning or what?
That's what I was trying to like.
I could
Couldn't
tell.
I also
Because his
couldn't
spider
tell.
sense went off when he wasn't faking it later on. So does that mean he like finally took over, or like
I don't know.
I don't know what
I
happened.
like how
I
he
think
actually
he-
had Spider Sense in this movie when he hasn't used it the past like
Yeah, that was
2.
Yeah.
He
They
used-
actually
used
like
it in-
showed it.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you should have been doing this
I-
6 years ago.
The spider sense thing. I was when Doctor Strange did the move.
Yeah, that was
where
cool.
He takes his soul out of his body, and you saw
Did
like
the
the
things above
little
his head?
spider sense things
That was
above his
cool.
head. That was pretty cool.
When his like lifeless body was moving the box, that was so bad, but it was.
It's a cool idea.
The
I wasn't so sharp.
and then he captures. He goes to Electro next,
He gets
right?
Dr. Octopus. He gets
Doc Ock.
Lizard, Doc Ock, Electro, and Sandman.
Yeah, the Electro
And
fight is where he like has the inside out suit,
I thought that was cool.
the black and gold suit.
and they had the
Doesn't
people
make-
taped to the phone.
He had the cell phone taped
It
to the
doesn't
front.
make any sense that his like blue design just like disappears for Electro's. He's just like
He's
he,
different.
turns
No
off
electricity.
He like
I'm
turns
hot.
off
He's- I'm
electricity and
naked.
He's like, oh, what? It's like
And he-
we're-
I don't understand. Like, they were still in the same. Like, they're still in New York or whatever. Like, how is that like so much more electricity than he had in the other movies?
But his powers like disappeared after he like. I mean, not like disappeared, but like, I don't know, dampened down.
Yeah.
Why was he like naked? Like, he just became not electricity for some reason.
I also
They
don't
took him
like.
out of the grid because he was.
Because
trapped
that's where
in
he
the
ended
grid.
in Amazing Spider-Man 2, where he was like dead, but like
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
I'd have to rewatch that movie to
We probably should
fully
have
know.
watched it before. Watch every other one.
it was just yeah. I didn't in general like he was fine. Definitely not my like favorite out of the.
His dialogue was pretty pissed for the majority of that movie.
I think overall, I thought the writing was a little iffy at spots.
It was just having these like
I'd say a
it
lot.
was just the typical like garbage or like mediocrity from the MCU's writing, but with these characters that had been written better previously, so it was like throwing me off.
That was
It was still
what-
cool, but I was like,
That's
you're taking like these like Doc Ock was like a very serious like well-written character. His wife died like not too long ago from
I didn't
his
even
like.
mention that. I thought they were gonna.
I also thought they were going to, but his wife like got just his like whole life got ruined like a few days before this movie takes place, and then he's like cracking all these like auto like the joke from the trailer and all that,
Yeah, it was-
and
also, I was confused by their Norman and his relationship. They like talk to each other like
Peters
No, like
who's
Doc Ock and the Green
Oz.
Goblins.
oh yeah
They were like they like worked. It seemed like they like worked together before and like,
yeah.
but I don't.
I mean, I'm sure they knew like I don't know.
I'm sure they knew.
It was
I'm sure they
cool.
knew of each other, but they were like happy to see each other.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
that's the thing,
I'm
which is weird.
Yeah,
Maybe
it was cool
it's
seeing them
earlier
like
phase
getting to
thing.
interact.
Well, that's just like
'Cause
not. I don't know. They just like you said, the writing.
There
is
was just so
different,
much
they're
they
just
like
not the same.
so many things they like they're all like yeah like much bigger characters obviously in other movies. There's so much they're like leaving out or not mentioning when they're like relegated to small side characters like this
Like,
that it's hard to to
Poor
do
dad.
it. But then when they're doing the electro fight, Sandman's like there and he helps him.
Sandman being in this movie still doesn't make any sense.
Well, yeah. Also, I was just confused how.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
Well, when is he taken? He's taken from the end of Spider-Man 3, like right after that, because he knows Peter's
Did
Spider-Man.
they all die? Because they didn't say like they all.
He said
Not
they.
saying it's their fate, but they didn't say Sandman.
It was like 2 of them died fighting. It was like yeah, Sandman literally doesn't.
Not,
Because if he's taken from the end of Spider-Man 3, he like knows Peter's identity. So he knew it in this movie, like when he arrived. He's like, Peter, I'm here to help or whatever during the electro fight. Right? Isn't that what he says?
so
Yeah.
why is he made of sand? Like
Also, that was really it was like, oh, we couldn't like get the actor, but he was playing his voice.
he had to.
Did anyone see his name in the credits? I did not pay attention.
No.
Well, I guess that was a reuse shot.
Was that him at the end?
It was reused footage, I'm pretty sure.
It had to
Both
be.
like the human lizard and the human salmon at the end were like the lizard transformation was the exact
Oh
same
my
one
God,
from
it
Amazing
was.
It was
Spider-Man
probably
1.
the same reused image when he started like becoming sand.
It was it was a shot of like where he's like you could only see like the kind of like this part of his head or whatever, and like you saw his hand sticking out. That was like straight from Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
And but it was just super weird. So I was like, is he playing him? And yeah,
He was the voice actor for sure.
it sounded like him, but there were times it didn't. So I was like,
Unless they like combine minds and then.
I don't know.
Oh, so they just like kind of didn't do the Sinister Six, right?
Yeah, everyone was wrong. There were 5 of them,
They just
and
did the
Doc
5.
Ock was good guy, and Sandman also was like good guy, but then he like trusted Spider-Man, but then Spider-Man like imprisoned him with the magic prison device.
He didn't really have like a
Sandman
dog
had
in the fight. He just wanted to go home.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like, and he had a reason, or like, why didn't he tell Peter like, hey, you can send me back? Like I wasn't dead back in my universe. I wasn't gonna
Yeah.
die.
There's
That
so
is,
many
yeah, there's so much that
plot holes.
it was cool. Like, I don't know, it was just cool seeing the characters that like know each other, but like never got to like be on screen together from like the
feel
Raimi universe. Like Sandman knowing obviously who Norman Osborn is or whatever.
But it's also weird. I guess another weird thing about Sandman is like he knows like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, but when he sees him, he just doesn't really give a shit.
Yeah, well,
He
none
tries
of
to
them
kill
do.
him.
They're like not like they're like it's Spider-Man, which it's this like a similar looking cos, and that's still Spider-Man, but it's weird that like
But Sandman has like enough like I don't know. He was like I don't know. He wasn't like necessarily a bad guy. He was being controlled by or like persuaded by Venom in Spider-Man 3, but that was resolved if he got pulled out at the end of that and he knows Spider-Man's identity, but he was like not even like tolerating them.
yeah, Sandman. I
Tobey
didn't
Maguire.
really like how they handled moves. I liked at the beginning when he was a good guy because that would like, well, wouldn't it make sense to use like immediately like right in that fight like, I don't know, Sandman I didn't love, and he also wasn't in it that like we'll get to the end later, but he like got like kind of written out of the movie like at the end. He just got forgotten about.
I think a better route they could have taken is where Green Goblin like fucking
Has his daughter hostage or something.
like something like that, or Green Goblin like persuades it like these guys want to kill us, so let's like fight them or fight this Peter.
Yeah.
But instead it was like
Like Green Goblin manipulates him or something.
Green Goblin and Electro like manipulate everybody. Maybe
Yeah.
Doc Ock is on the good side, but like they're I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, all that, which we knew wouldn't.
The route they took, it's so like underwhelming. I don't know. You have all this potential to work with all these characters and like pretty much move them any way you want while providing fan service, but instead they chose like a goofy like rehab thing. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
I guess I'm rushing past the beginning.
Once they like get all of them, there's a Peter and Doctor Strange fight where Peter is like, or Doctor Strange says, if we send them back, they'll all die, which doesn't make any sense. But that doesn't make any sense because that's not true.
They should have like gone further
Well, I think-
into.
I think there should have been a different like, I guess reasoning behind
He
it,
was
like for
if
Peter.
If they die, they die. Is what he said.
Yeah, so I guess like not all of
He
them
was
die,
like,
but the
if
ones
they
that do die, he'll be
it's
sending
like
them
their
back.
fate, yeah.
Just send the ones that didn't like. I don't know.
But he was like, wait, we're in like a different time. We can help them with our technology, but wouldn't that mess up their like? I don't know.
Yeah, is Electro gonna come back like floating?
Well, yeah, that's all. Yeah, or they do like when are they like taken? They also like we don't know when any of them were really like. You can just have to like guess when they were taken out
Well,
of their
it's right before
timelines.
they die.
What about Sandman?
You just get,
Or Lizard?
what if he's like flying around? He's just.
Is Lizard like?
Why was Lizard? He doesn't.
Lizard basically wasn't there. He doesn't.
Oh yeah,
do
and Lizard.
anything
Yeah,
supportive.
he looked rough. He was.
Oh my
he
God,
looked-
the CGI was unbearable.
It was like the first shot where he like looks into the camera and like his like eyes are glowing a little bit.
When he
I was like,
talking,
It's like a
it
puppet
looked
or
like a
something.
cartoon.
I don't know.
yeah, it looked worse
Just
than
take
Amazing
the CG
Spider-Man.
from the fucking other movies if you're gonna do that.
It was
so-
throwing me. I didn't understand. I was confused.
I don't
but-
understand how like CGI is like so much better now than it was. In
It's
the
also
past.
being mass produced, and also this movie is like 80% CG
Wait.
characters.
They couldn't have changed him too much.
I'm not saying change him. I'm saying like, why didn't it look better?
I wouldn't have minded them changing it since they changed everyone else that looked
They did.
terrible. They changed Elektra, who looked bad.
They changed Electro after he was introduced to a new universe.
Yeah, well, yeah,
He was
came
the
in
same guy. He
Yeah,
was the same blue guy.
I guess it wouldn't have made sense, but
It still
does,
doesn't make sense that he wasn't blue.
he was blue when he came.
Green Goblin had the same
For
suit
like
on.
2 seconds.
And
Kind
then
of.
After
And then
he came
Sandman's
in, then he
green
had, like,
shirt.
The scene after he broke it,
What about Sandman's green shirt?
he was wearing it.
Was
the-
he?
was.
Why did
Yeah.
Sandman
I mean, he
not-
was,
Why
but-
did Sandman not like be sand?
That character, there's like a lot going on with him, especially in that movie, and to see him like relegated to such a.
I'd rather him not be in that movie. Like,
Well, I don't think they like ruined
he's not
him.
even like a great bad guy of those like, I guess the Raimi
Well, they
trilogies.
just were like people who know who.
They were just
Yeah.
taking villains.
Well, if they weren't gonna do the Sinister Six, what was the fuck like?
Do you think like I don't know.
I was really waiting for a sixth member at some point, but
Yeah, when the multiverse started cracking and you saw like
yeah, I thought it was
Scorpion,
gonna be like score like that. I don't know
and then
what
like
I thought.
the other one that they showed was like I think Rhino.
yeah, there was.
That was funny.
I
when he was talking about, they're like, "Who's the coolest?"
yeah, just
villain
making
so
fun of
far?"
all the bad stuff in their movies.
I thought that was pretty funny.
I thought overall it was a lot of them were like stupid, but it was like first time you watch a Marvel movie, like that's funny, or like it was. I laughed a decent amount.
No, I was laughing. It's,
I always
it's
thought
funny. It's good in a theater, especially.
I've always thought like these Spider-Man movies, like I don't really think they're super good. I always think they're like pretty funny generally. Like we were watching them yesterday.
Yeah.
There's some zingers in Far
I'm
From Home. There's some really bad lines, but there's also like funny.
Porn?
That's funny. The teacher that was in the movie for one
I'm
scene.
not gonna lie. When
like
the whole Ned thing, where he's like, Toby tells him about like his best friend, and he's like, yeah, he went crazy and tried to kill, like that whole thing.
I don't know how I felt about that because I was like, yeah, it's like you're like playing it for a
It's,
joke,
like,
but
really
also it's
sad.
like a really like important good part of the movie that's like really
thought
sad.
that's
But it also happened. Okay, I don't actually feel that way. This was just like a thought I had in the
Also,
back of my head.
I think they're saying now while looking how like Tobey Maguire's way older.
Yeah, it's been like years and years ago, so like it doesn't really matter. But does it make sense for Peter to do what he does? To like, I think it makes sense for them to like try and save. Like he doesn't want them to die, the ones that do die.
The wait, like what is he? What is? I think
Ooh.
hearing good.
But I mean, it's understandable, I guess. But it's his mistake clearly that he makes. Or that's not even like he makes a much bigger mistake later. I just
Yeah.
I don't know. It was like understandable. It just was extremely frustrating to watch. Because you're like, oh, you're like being really silly, and also like you just like brought these guys like this is stuff like way past. You're like you have no idea what's going on. Like the multiverse has like never been a thing. You're just like this is all like brand new. Like you're
No,
literally
when
just
he was, like-
you're literally just taking away the way it's like been. Like nothing would have happened if you hadn't like for some reason snatched them out of their realities. So like I don't know. If it was me, I would have just been like I'm just gonna put back how it was and like. But I'm not Spider-Man.
So when they took out the villains before they died, but then they took out like Toby, like
Later on.
way down the line. Because I mean
Yeah.
that's the only thing they could do. Because he's
I like to
Yeah.
think those people on that train that saw like Spider-Man's face, and they like didn't, they like
Spider-Man 2?
in Spider-Man 2, they like saw his face and like didn't say anything. I like to think that they're just like wandering around New York and like really confused, because they like knew who he was.
Oh.
And they said like all the people who knew who he was got like.
Yeah.
Wait,
Just
You think,
random-
you think some of them were just like?
Well, then
what?
I thought-
No, wait, it only said like some of the people got teleported.
They
Yeah, I
they
know,
said those
but-
were the ones that made it through, but then we'll get
But
to it
the
later.
only
But
ones
then
they cared about were the ones who were like monsters.
That's,
yeah,
Like they
Oh,
would have,
why?
they had no way to tell. Like
like Mary Jane could have been there. or-
that's what I was thinking. Is
Yeah.
like, you think she was just like
They should have put Gwen
what?
Stacy in there.
after he steals the box from Doctor Strange and traps him
Very
in the
evil,
mirror.
yeah.
I like the Doctor Strange. It was like all the stuff like from his movies, like how like
the mirror dimension.
yeah,
that was
like
really cool.
that was, and then they like played the music from his movie, which I haven't heard since his
I
movie in 2016.
love
And I was like, that's super cool. So I liked that. I was like, man, I like Doctor Strange.
Yeah. Is that
and
why
then-
if we're going through?
Was that a reference?
Yeah.
Or something? Why did everybody laugh at that?
There's something
One-
cooler
one
than
thing
science,
more,
math.
Like, cooler than like magic or whatever.
I think
Said
those were just
math.
genuine laughs at how stupid that line is.
And he says, I knew geometry.
You're telling me
I'm
No,
not
it's geometry, so he just like pulled together a bunch of.
It's a
how did it like wrap or like?
you
what?
don't
Geometry,
you're not
man.
smart. It's geometry.
How would it have like?
Simple geometry.
Yeah.
Should it have gone
Me
around
being a
his neck or
senior in
something?
high school and I'd taken a simple geometry
I
class
know
back
geometry.
in
Honor-
sophomore.
honor-
Practice
And he was like sine divided by pi, and it's like,
Yeah, he should
does
have.
that matter? Like, if you still have to do exactly what you're like. That doesn't make sense.
They could have done like some. I don't know, why did they even put him in that?
What
situation?
suit was he using in that scene?
It was the red, the
Normal one, right?
Bosco.
What?
It's the one that he made it Far From Home at the end.
Oh, because
Ant-Man
Ant-Man cleaned it.
I don't know
Yeah.
what the whole. He was like, they just put that black and gold suit because he got dirty.
He just
Was
wore it
the
inside
inside
out.
out.
I know. Well, I'm saying like.
Someone
what was
threw
the point of
green
that?
paint at it.
So
And
the
somehow
Nickelodeon
he couldn't
slime?
get it off. The tech genius that guy is, that Tom
Well,
Holland
Yeah,
It was
is.
the guy
permanent.
who solved everyone's like medical, like severe medical issues in like 15 minutes couldn't figure out how to get Nickelodeon
literally-
slime out of his clothes.
I bet they
That
really
was-
did that for toy stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Oh, green of slam. Turn my suit inside out.
I'm
New
fine
suit.
with the
New suit,
the
the new
integrated
Spider-Man
suit
game.
we get later, but it was just weird
Yeah,
that it
it's
was
a
like
new suit.
absent, and he had the black and gold suit for like 20 minutes or however long.
Not even.
He had like what 4 or 5 different suits.
In the MCU in total, he has had like 8 in like 4 years,
Ugh.
which is ridiculous.
Spoiled.
But so he fights Doctor Strange, gets to Box, and then he's like, "I'm gonna cure the villains," and he brings them to the place where him and Aunt May and
Happy's apartment.
yeah,
That like part of the movie was like pissing me off so much.
it was just frustrating because obviously his like whole thing is he like made a mistake and he pays the price for it, but it's like when you're 3 movies in, you've been doing this for like a decent while now. It's not like you just started as Spider-Man. You're like at
That's
least
a pretty big mistake to make. Also,
Pizza.
you're just like you're just like
Pizza time.
you're just like a couple
Pizza.
like you're like 2 or 3 years into it by this point, and you bring like these like monsters from who knows where to the place where your like closest people in your life are like staying. It's just
kind
like
of kill Aunt May. He should have been like, "Hey, probably steer clear. These guys are."
yeah, well, like that whole thing when like Aunt May's like, "You want some fresh water or salt water? Because you're an octopus."
I didn't like that, dude.
Because you're an
I didn't-
That was
octopus.
the worst thing.
But I was
It's
like,
obviously,
I was
not.
like, Peter like brought like
Dude.
Peter brought these like monsters, terrible people to like, and you're like
And they've
pulling
just got-
zingers
yeah,
with them.
They've got a completely insane, like, Goblin Man just sitting there like
That was-
plotting on how he's gonna kill them.
Yeah, that was like telling Aunt May how there was like this terrible voice inside of his head.
Yeah.
Like the homeless
No,
shelter
hey, will
or
you
whatever
just sit
she
over
was
there
in.
by the knives? I'll like. I don't know.
It was just so weird that that like I don't know that he chose to do that. And when like it got to that point in the movie, like I felt it was like going out along at like a pretty like reasonable pace. Like I thought the stuff in the beginning was rushed over, but then when they got to that point where he's like, "All right, we're gonna cure him," and then he takes them all to like his house, and they just kind of meander there until like the finale happens. I was like, I don't know. That was like I guess at least favorite part of the movie.
That was such
But-
a time waster.
well, it just felt like it was trying to like buy time to get to the end. But I mean, it's not like I don't think it was like bad even. Just a lot of like
I think it was
silly
too
jokes.
goofy.
Oh yeah, they were. What were some of the other jokes? Anyone remember? Like what
The
else happened
apartment
when they
scene?
were in the apartment? Yeah, there was that thing where
I don't know,
Electro's
it was
like
forgettable as fuck.
Electro and Sandman talked about like falling in stuff. That was kind of funny. He's like, "That'll do it," or no,
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Gotta
the
be
eels.
careful.
Yeah.
Gotta be careful
I
where
didn't mind how
where
they,
you
like,
fall
made-
these days.
They made fun of how stupid it was.
yeah, they like hated on Electro a lot,
They
as
did
they
that
should.
twice, yeah. Because then later on. Wait, did they?
I think so.
Yeah, because he's joking about it with Sandman, and then Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire says the thing at the end where he's like, "That'll do it," like falling in a vat of electric eels.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think Lizard and Electro talk at some point because that when he's like, "Last time I saw you, your like teeth were like," that's when he says like the teeth thing.
Teeth were blue or some.
Yeah, because
something like
the
that.
electricity like fixed his teeth and Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh,
you
you
remember
had
that?
to comb over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Last
was
time I saw you, you had a gap in your teeth.
Yeah.
And a comb over.
but
So why doesn't Amy come over now?
because
Because he's in the universe.
it is weird that they changed
Same
some. They
character.
changed some of them, but some of them were like the exact same. Or were they? I don't know. And also,
Sandman.
I don't think you count.
Yeah.
It's like they couldn't have changed them, right? Because
Yeah, different sand, different universe.
well, I guess it would have just been like
That would make
maybe
more sense.
if they
Just
were
like
just
darker.
This sand feels
if they were
great.
just like variants or something of like the original villains, but still played by those actors. Is that
They
that?
were, though.
No, I'm saying, but like that's what they could have done. They like all looked a little bit
They should've
different.
established it a little more.
Well, yeah, they could have just been from like, but then they obviously wouldn't have had the connection. It's a tough balancing act.
I think they could have done a better job.
I mean, I think they do too. But if you're like making this movie like a sequel to Far From Home, where he's gonna fight like multiversal villains,
You're John Watson hired the aim into the wall.
you're like doing that, and I don't know. I think for a lot of it, it was done pretty well.
I'm thinking the same thing though. Overall,
I mean, it's not my favorite
they were
movie ever,
given-
and it's got a lot of like issues,
it's
things that
barely
don't
a
make any
movie,
sense.
To be honest, did we skim over the Matt Murdock thing?
Oh my god!
We totally.
Come on, guys, y'all are slacking.
Could have been longer.
us.
Yeah, when he's at the table.
They're already making a 2.5-hour movie. They could add 2 more minutes.
He-
You
in
could have
that
just
court
added a
scene.
few more minutes, yeah, of like a trial scene or something.
I
just
mean,
to
yeah, if at
say-
that point, like, why not make it 3 hours? Literally just do
Literally, they
Endgame,
cut
and
to him,
then
Peter was like, "Thanks," and then he was like, "Yeah, I'm a good lawyer."
Oh, you got that. How'd you do that?
See ya.
The
That's it.
yeah, that was crazy. So it's canon.
Whatever.
That
Maybe.
show?
Well, also here's this one: Hawkeye episode 5 spoilers.
Hey.
I've
already got a spoil for me, but
Hawkeye or Kingpin's in it. Chase.
I don't know.
Okay, so I don't know. So I guess we don't know like what from that show. No spoilers actually for the like Daredevil season 3. We don't know like how that show ends like compared to like what it means for like I don't know how these characters act or whatever. I think it's super.
Like, have they done that yet? Where they pull someone from like they recast the role, but like it's not the same person. Like Quicksilver.
Where they recast him?
No, they cast the same
Oh.
guy.
Like
Quicksilver.
reboot?
Boner guy. Yeah.
No. The only thing they've pulled from TV was, Jarvis, the guy in Endgame, and like when they go back in time.
Yeah, but he's barely there.
Yeah, but he was still in the movie. That was like the first like time they pulled something from like the TV shows into the movies. Point
Well,
being,
I'm just thinking. What I'm thinking is that they're new characters. Like it's a.
like Daredevil
No, it
didn't
doesn't make- That
happen.
would make sense. Like no
Yeah.
matter what way you cut it.
Well, also Daredevil or Kingpin's wearing like what he wears in season 3 of Daredevil, and no like no other part in that show. But yeah, that's exciting. Can't believe he was in it.
I need to watch that show so I know how fucked up the like.
They're gonna treat him.
timeline is.
Oh, well, also that. Yeah, as long as they do like a good job with him, but they won't. They're gonna make
no
a.
worries, they won't.
They're gonna make a Disney Plus like Daredevil show maybe, or maybe like they'll put him in like a movie or something.
Was there like the same director or directors for the show every season?
Yeah, I think so.
I wouldn't be
The same like
surprised
showrunner.
If
If they got them, yeah.
I think
But it's
that would
still
be
if it's on Disney Plus, if they do a show,
It's gonna be way
or
more
he's in
Would
a
they
show.
want to do that though?
They're
Because it's like a totally new like.
Yeah, I think they're just like gonna. They're like that stuff happened in like Daredevil maybe.
They're gonna brush
If you
over it.
want, if you like, but they're not gonna like ever acknowledge it. They're just gonna be like, he's Matt Murdock, he's Daredevil, and there's Kingpin, who's like a crime boss, which is fine.
That's okay.
At least they're there. It'd be a waste if they weren't.
Alright,
Hopefully-
so
They could do like a team up movie
Yeah.
really easily now. Nice.
Yeah. So Green Goblin, like he comes back and he's like I'm evil, and Lizard's in the car. Oh, also J. Jonah Jameson is in the movie. Like every once in a while they like mention him, and he like says some things.
he's
You-
supposed to be a spoof of that Alex Jones.
Alex Jones.
Which,
I mean, I
think it would have been cool if they did like a Sinister Six moment like around that apartment time where they all like kind of beat up on him like Spider-Man PS4.
oh yeah.
Rather than all of them just running away and not showing up until the last 20 minutes of the movie or 30.
Well, just
it
with
would've
the
made more sense if they had like.
if they were like all mind controlled by it's just the villains they chose. Like I don't like it doesn't really work in a way that like that make it'll
well,
make
I don't
sense.
think they were ever really a team. I think they just all really didn't like Spider-Man.
They should
Yeah.
have been. They should have decided to be a team when they escaped the apartment or Green Goblin like fucked everything up. But instead, they just like cut them out of the movie.
Yeah.
And they were working together at the end, which
So
doesn't really make sense.
Aunt May's there. He tells Aunt May to run. She goes downstairs, and then
She pulls out a
there's a
plug.
fight. I think a pretty good fight between Spider-Man and Green Goblin.
Oh, like,
Dude.
That fight was like I thought the action in this was a lot better than the last two movies too. Generally,
they cut a lot.
yeah.
when Green Goblin like took Peter and just like pinned him straight into the ground, they dropped 3 floors. Like he
Yeah.
like jumped up and just like tackled
That was
him in the
wild.
ground.
They were very like imaginative. Like they don't, especially with this like 70-year-old man or whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't
I'm
make
sure they don't really make, but they like. I still thought it was a lot better than like the last two movies' action generally. That
You
Green.
felt it more like sometimes.
Because he doesn't really fight.
You felt how much power there was.
Sometimes
Yeah.
in superhero movies they like muddy the, like, I don't know. It's hard to relate to a fight or be like, ooh, that hurts when like they're like gods and they like are flying through like buildings and getting stabbed in
Yeah.
the face and like nothing's hurting them. But you can see Peter's like, you know.
Yeah, Spider-Man's like a
Spider-Man.
hero, a character that should be a thing
more
that they should.
Somewhat
Yeah.
vulnerable. Like,
like
I mean, the
relatable-ish.
past two movies he was like smashed by cars all the time, and it didn't really like. phase
Yeah.
him.
We didn't. Okay, this is what I was saying. I don't remember when I said this, but he hadn't fought anybody with like powers.
Yeah.
Up until this movie, which is kind of weird because, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously Vulture's like they did a good job on that, and then Mysterio was good, but it doesn't really put him in a dangerous situation that's like
a super
someone's,
physical
like,
one.
matched
Yeah.
up against him. But
Homecoming was
this-
almost there, but Vulture was like not.
He,
They
like-
fought for like they actually fought on that beach
Probably
for
a
like
minute.
maybe a minute, and
Long.
then but no,
He doesn't have any moments in any of those movies like with hand-to-hand
Yeah.
combat.
yeah, he doesn't like
It's
punch
just
people.
like the first time, which
The-
is weird.
Far from this was like a first of many things for that character, which is so stupid. But now that we finally was here, I thought it was a pretty good fight.
I think they like kind of. I think they kind of like showed that in like when he like got on top of the goblin and started punching him in the face.
At the
like,
end?
he was in the
yeah.
in the condo fight
He
scene,
didn't care.
and he like just started like smiling at him.
Yeah.
He did, like
Yeah.
didn't feel anything.
Yeah.
I think that's because like he had like a reaction to it.
Yeah.
too. So I mean,
Yeah.
I think they kind of showed that in the smallest way possible.
I still think the like fight scenes in the other Spider-Man movies are better done just because
Yeah,
they look more
it looked real.
better, real.
Yeah, I mean yeah,
I mean,
but for
obviously it's
this
still fun.
version of Spider-Man, I think this is the best they've done.
It's so it's
Um,
just I don't know. It's sad to compare
Okay.
what's better.
And then
MA.
so Ami's down there, and then the glider comes and like hits her first. Like there's like a first hit that like should kill her, right?
It
Did anyone else,
should have been
did anyone else
pinned
think
up
that looked
against
like
the glider.
super painful? Like they thought she like
I thought
like
she
would
was
have been dead there.
I thought she
That's
just
what-
got stabbed, like impaled by the
Yeah.
glider, like
Also,
you would.
The way it was
Say it should kill her. It did kill her.
well, but then the bomb
Why did they-
also
Okay.
like was a contributing.
I just
But it wasn't because none of them looked like a grenade
yeah, I don't
just
think
went
the bomb
off.
did shit.
I don't
He just, like,
understand.
swatted it,
He hardly moved it.
Yeah.
He moved it like an inch.
He bobbled it.
but she didn't get affected by that.
He
bomb,
didn't
right?
either.
Yeah, well, I
He
don't
probably had some last words in her. In the
Did it just
launch.
blow it up and there was like rubble on top of them? Because there was like a bunch of
Not
stuff
really.
on, or there was like stuff on top of them. Because remember, she got up and she was like limping, and then he was like,
But that was because she got hit by the fucking glider 2 seconds before that.
it was kind of odd how they did it.
It seemed too quick and too like anticlimactic for what it was.
I would have just had him like stab her with the glider or something. That's like the focus of it. Like he like goes like
if it was like kind of like triumphant, like before, like like somewhat of a chance, like cause she like tried to put up a fight at first, like she grabbed like the metal rod out,
yeah.
and then like if it was like kind of like blah blah blah, and then like
It would have been cool
the
if he
music,
just like
she got
looked up and then instantly like
Yeah.
like crushed her because
Yeah.
he could.
yeah, because like the glider comes in and pins her up against the wall like it did to Green Goblin in the first movie.
Yeah, I would have done
and then
something
like the music
like that.
just like stopped and it was just like
And then he
Dead
like,
silence.
And then she hopped up and said, "Alright, so I guess we should get out of here."
and then
Her hopping up after that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, he leaves. She's like up, and you're like, you think she's gonna maybe be okay, but then like someone has to die, so you're like,
It's
she's
not
gonna
all
die.
order.
It was kind of weird,
I
and
just, I don't know. I think killing one of the like main characters in the movies like off with like an ambiguous like kind of like injury thing is just silly. Like I know that's not the like point, but still. Like I'd rather them like it be like a point of focus that she just got a fatal injury.
It should be
not
like- I'll-
she could be dead. Like she
yeah, the film obviously like the like consequences of it are like super big in the film, but like for like Aunt May's death scene, I like kind of that's like a very big deal. Like, the
I
PS4
don't-
game did it like super well. Like
I think they should have just like, it. Obviously, she got impaled, or did she?
I think
Because
I don't
got, like,
know.
because it
sliced.
looked like she just like glanced off the glider.
Well, she fucking. That's why I'm saying. I think she got like cut by the thing and like bopped.
But that's the thing is like you can't
Tell.
tell. 'Cause
Yeah, I don't
never
think it
shows
was-
that she
like
got
an
stabbed.
ambiguous- Yeah,
It
like,
It
I
just
don't-
like Spider-Man just had blood on his hand at some point. That was it.
and just I feel like the order of emotions was off.
Yeah.
Like she gets up and you're
the
like
great power.
So-
yeah, he's like whatever you're saying right now doesn't really matter. Let's like.
Like, I
we
thought
gotta
she'd
figure out
be,
what to
like-
do, and then she just dies.
I thought
should've
she-
said that on her.
yeah, I thought she'd be like on the ground dying,
Why-
and then
why
she
would
says
she
it.
Get up. It doesn't make any sense.
So she got hit by the glider, went down, grenade went off.
pops back up.
Everyone survived with like injuries, as far as we know at that point.
Yeah.
Spider-Man and Aunt May just start talking, back and forth like they usually
She
do.
says
She
something.
seems kind of out of breath, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, you
Uh,
can tell like in that you're like,
she's
oh,
like,
she's
oh,
gonna
she's
die
injured.
in like
She
a
should've done
second.
thing where she like says like one thing and then like tries to move a little bit and then falls down, but she like walked.
Yeah.
Like,
She-
full,
Yeah, she was like
10
she was
She
up for
walked
too
over.
long. Yeah,
She
that
walked
scene-
over to Peter.
Yeah, it was
Hey, you good?
it was I didn't like
Helps him out.
love how that and then she says the line. The big line. Finally.
Pizza time.
Yeah, she says pizza time. She
If Tobey Maguire said that, they should have like ordered a pizza at the school
At the-
or something.
It's like a really out of place, like a serious
Pizza
moment.
time.
Well,
Well,
they
they
like a
could've done,
pizza
like,
on the ground. He's like, pizza time.
They could have done a montage or something of them like
Him
doing
bringing,
work.
they're when they're working in the lab, he comes with a pizza. And he's
yeah, I thought they were gonna do some more like memes and stuff with him. But yeah, so
he was probably like he was kind of a serious character.
yeah,
He was like a role model. For
it's
Literally every male in that franchise is role model for Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
It was like needs a million role models because
Yeah.
he messes up.
yeah.
all
So
the
she
time.
said the line and then she dies. So it's Uncle Ben's death,
So, yeah.
but with
She
Aunt May.
dies like 3 minutes later.
It's just weird.
It is super weird how they did it.
So she says the line.
Happy also just like the way they did that. They were like writing it and they were like, okay, we need him to be like
Yeah,
see
where-
that she's
Yeah,
dead, too.
yeah. I don't know where
So
he
just, like,
was.
whips up in a car. He's like looks over directly.
And
at
that
her.
was like sad,
Yeah.
but I feel like it would have been more sad if Happy was like,
made a little more sense.
Happy
yeah,
was
or
there.
if Happy like was there
If-
and then he actually was like next to him or something.
If
He was
there
in
was,
the building with him.
yeah, if there was like an effort to like save her, I think I would have cared more. But like, she was like fine, like getting
For
up
long enough
for
to
like
probably
long
get medical
enough,
help.
and then for like Peter to be like, oh, maybe like she's hurt, maybe I should get to the hospital. And then she says the line, and then she like collapses. And he's like, hey Aunt May, please get up. And he's literally Spider-Man. He could be at a hospital in like 5 seconds flat.
Yeah.
Just to, but like
Tell-
he just waited there and just like saw her just
Yeah,
like
he was
die
not-
in front of his eyes.
He
It
was
was just-
not like super concerned after
Yeah.
she got hit. He was like, "What? Run!" But then
A grenade went off like 5 feet from her.
And then he was like, "You good?" And she's like, "Yes." It's like, why aren't you? She got hit by a fucking like.
But we also
A
don't
metal
really like
glider.
know what happened because they don't show it well enough
Either
to
way,
where
she got hit by that thing like flying. That
I
thing
just-
was going so fast.
I like the
She got-
idea
she
of that
bounced
scene.
off a piece of metal.
I just don't think it was like
Done well.
done. I don't think it was done like poorly. I just don't think it was done as well.
really poorly.
It wasn't done. It wasn't done as well. Like if they had like done that well, it would have like hit home the emotions a little bit more. It's not that it was like sad, but I was like,
With his
you weren't in the last. You were in the last movie maybe 5 minutes, and then before that, like
You're a big character.
you're a big character to this Spider-Man, but the audience like hasn't seen that much. Like they show in Homecoming, but like in
Homecoming did a good job.
Homecoming did a decent job with a lot of
I think
stuff.
the
They just dropped the ball in the second movie, and then they had to like make up for it in this one, which is not this movie's fault, but like
They did
What are you
like
gonna do?
gloss over how big of a role she played knowing that he was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Or
they-
he just kind of explained it away with a sentence.
which is
Like,
like far
oh,
from,
wait,
which is
wait,
far
my
from
Aunt
Home's
May.
fault. That movie messed up everything. That
Yeah.
movie,
If they wanted to be impactful, they would have made AMA worried about him being Spider-Man, like to a pretty high degree.
Yeah.
yeah.
But
He
instead
later
they,
he references it, but he like
she's like, oh, she's gonna freak if I do this, but she
Well,
never
maybe
does.
Or
Sure,
she could have been like
first of all,
apprehensive about it, not too sure of it, but then she finally like accepts it at the
that's
end,
what Far
and
From
then says the like great power, great responsibility thing before she dies. That would have been like
Why did
perfect.
they make him go on a fucking like field trip? The timing doesn't make sense because it follows Endgame. He's like a New York character, and he hasn't even been like established in the city yet.
Well, they did a scene in Homecoming, the like montage scene. They do it a little bit.
But that's not even like, I don't know. I still think he's not like going into like downtown and like doing like some big shit. He just does like literally the small stuff, like what he's saying he wants.
Again, that's the thing from like Far From Home, where they like try to make him such a big
I think
character
they
at the
did a good
beginning.
job.
Related, I think they did a decent enough job in Homecoming. I think that movie just set up things decently well, and they weren't
That's
like
what I'm saying,
built
they should've
upon
carried
naturally.
that
Yeah,
in Far From Home rather than taking him away from his like his core.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
Well,
ground.
they had to have a home title, and it was difficult to make. For
I,
some reason.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was
At
the reason.
home, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man at
There you
home.
go. That's-
So
I think that talking about the timeline of like the movie itself is kind of like off. So like it starts where the Far From Home left off, which is their summer trip, right?
Yeah.
I think
And
I
Far
think
From
they've
Home
been
was,
dating-
like a year after Homecoming, which was 8 years after
Well,
Avengers.
wait,
this is-
Stop.
wait,
They
wait.
made the mistake in Homecoming. We'll let it
Homecoming-
go. But
6
just
years after
Far From Home
Homecoming.
takes place in late 2023.
just within the movie itself, right?
Yeah.
They get done with their summer trip, and it immediately follows after that movie. And then they have the start of like their senior year when he's
Yeah.
like walking into the school,
And
and
that's
then
Christmas.
and then it's Christmas.
yeah, they don't.
There was a
really-
little time jump at the end, maybe.
There wasn't.
There wasn't. There wasn't a
should-
time jump at all.
Well, I'm
No.
saying when they reset the universe at the end.
Oh, that he's talking
No,
about.
he's talking about before
wait,
that.
You're right. What?
Was it Christmas
No.
before that?
Yes,
No.
because in the mirror dimension, remember he like shoots him
Oh,
through the mall
well-
and then Christmas music is playing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Also, it's
It's Halloween.
Literally-
before
Oh
that.
yeah.
yeah.
Wait, he said take down the Halloween decoration.
But it's weird because.
So it's after Halloween.
It's just
right?
as
weird
soon as,
how much
Matt
they, like,
Murdock or
speed-
Daredevil's like, all right, you're clear of these charges. Then it just jumps to like
Halloween.
Halloween,
Because that's when they
Yeah.
go to the diner after that.
but there's no like what I don't know. What's the repercussions of him? Everybody knowing him being Spider-Man.
I think that's just like what the rushed like parts were, where they were just showing like his life like blows because like and the stuff.
I just
Again, that's like I think going back to they didn't show enough of the like first
I
part.
just think it's funny how they focused on all these like schoolmates and all like these school people in the first two movies, and absolutely.
Oh, yeah,
like,
we didn't talk about
they literally
Flash
erased
or
them.
Betty.
They literally
or-
erased them from
They-
the next trilogy.
Flash was in it briefly.
Now he's not.
He's going to
not
MIT?
gonna be in
Betty
another-
was in it.
Oh, Betty was in it for a second.
for a second.
She'll be at the Daily Bugle
What happened to
on their TikTok. Oh, Brad?
Brad, yeah.
Who died?
The movie is like far from
Wait, I
wrong.
guess he would have graduated. I thought he was older. than
He
that.
was.
Think it was.
So he was out of high school. Yeah.
Either way.
He's on
Um,
the school trip.
Yeah, right.
So Aunt May died.
okay, so yeah, Aunt May dies. And he's like super sad about it, and then Aunt May dies, and there's like that one shot of him like in the snow. That that one poster. Have you seen that poster where it's like him? That looked cool. That was pretty.
It was raining.
It was snowing.
It was
It's
raining.
raining.
It was raining.
I
And
thought those from I will say from Aunt May's death on, the movie was on
an upward.
an
Yeah.
upward. It was like
Well-
definitely it hit that point and then it like started
It was
getting.
like-
Well,
Left the
you know,
apartment.
yeah, you know what happened after she died was that Ned opened up a gate to Andrew Garfield's universe.
Yeah. And you see his
But
big
it
white
Oh,
white
yeah.
eyes, and you're
It
like,
wasn't his universe. It was the. He was like
in our universe. Yeah.
in the,
Oh
He
yeah.
just literally found him in the city, and he happened to be in a weird alley.
Yeah.
I don't remember if they showed. I think like I like to think that Tobey Maguire was in like a Sears, just like walking around. just
He should have been in a
checking
pizza
stuff
shop.
I wish he was wearing a suit.
They bring Andrew Garfield in, and he says some zingers. Either
She
way,
wants you to clean
the
up
point is Andrew
the spider
Garfield's
webs.
here, and
Toby.
and then Toby comes.
And the movie's getting better. Our
And-
movie theater erupted into
Yeah,
Cheers.
applause
Memes.
for that and the Matt Murdock thing.
yeah,
And
and
when Aunt May died, everyone was clapping. I'm kidding.
yeah.
But-
We didn't talk about like the moments that were just
Straight
lines
fan
from the
service.
previous movies, like the power. He said twice the power of the sun in the palm of my hand.
He didn't
So
say
lazy.
it.
Norman.
He said the first part of it the second time, and then Tom Holland Peter.
Oh
finished the
yeah,
line.
yeah, yeah.
Or no, it was definitely not Tom Holland. Toby
Someone
finished
else.
the line.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah, at the end.
Oh, yeah.
And then Norman Osborn says, "I'm something of a scientist myself."
It doesn't really make sense.
Well, he's
Actually,
a
it makes
scientist.
perfect
Yeah, what are you
sense.
talking about?
Well, I mean, that one makes sense with the power of the sun. Like, he said that when he was originally doing that. What does he say?
He says it
He says it
twice in that movie.
Spider-Man 2?
Yeah, he says it at the
And
end.
he says it twice in this movie.
Oh my God, they really did their homework.
Why does he... I mean, you gotta get old of saying that. Or tired of saying that.
Well, this Spider-Man 2 happened like a couple days ago, right? This movie, like,
The
or like the day of, yeah. But they show up. That was kind of crazy. It's pretty fun, right?
Mhm.
He wasn't happy to see them.
I got Doctor Strange, like, actually couldn't get out of
The mirror
That put a
dimension.
smile on my face.
He's like a...
Seeing Tobey Maguire again, like,
That made me happy. I think Andrew Garfield, seeing them all directly compared, I realized, I don't know if it was a hot take, but that he is the vastly superior, like,
I don't know,
Personality.
vastly. I will just in this
personality
movie,
wise,
but they're
I think
also
he
like
is.
Personality wise, he was like a skater nerd. Did
I think this movie did more justice.
to Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, yeah. Also, because his movies
Yeah.
sucked.
I mean,
Tobey Maguire
Tobey
was, like,
weird.
Yeah. Well, he
compared
wasn't
to- I don't
how,
think-
but also I don't know how he like acts like as how he compared to how he did like 20 years ago.
No.
So like I think he was just like being himself, but he's also like a weird guy. So if you take him like 20 years later, I don't know what. I'm not expecting him to act like how he acted, like, and like when his character's aged like 20 years. I think they all did a good job. I think the acting all around was solid.
I still think it's
Electro or Jamie Foxx.
His writing.
Yeah,
He
Tom
can
Holland
act sometimes.
did a really
He's
good
good at
job.
Django.
Tom Holland. I think he's done a good job in all the movies.
Tom
I
Holland,
just
I think I liked him the best. in this movie.
he actually had something to like work with.
I agree. I think like they showed his ability to act in this
Yeah.
movie. Like he definitely is a good actor because like that like
They've just
when NBA
wasted
guys,
him.
he's like really pissed and he's hitting
Green Goblin
yeah,
at the
he was
end.
first
Yeah,
movie,
that was
but
great.
That was
I can't believe he was gonna kill him.
I can.
yeah.
But I thought
So-
the whole point of like the other Spider-Man telling him like,
Well, they
Yeah,
were there
Yeah,
to
they
stop
started
him.
working on all these cures, and in the heat of the moment, I guess
they
he
were
just
like-
decided
well, they told
he
him
wanted
like,
him
there's
dead.
nothing good comes out of like, like avenging your family.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's talking can only do so much.
I'm sure in the moment
he
he was
didn't
just
even
like
listen to it.
Well,
I guess that makes sense.
yeah,
that's like his whole character.
yeah.
well,
that's
I
the-
think that's also why Toby didn't have to say anything. When
Yeah.
he interfered with the fight. It just
Um,
had to
That was
remind him.
the fight they have, that one shot like where they're on the moon and like the water tower or whatever, the like thing. When they go meet him, like for the first time, they all talk.
They're
And
on top of the school
yeah,
or whatever.
whatever. I don't know where they are.
Which was
I
But
thought it was the school.
Oh yeah, because that's where he went.
So
I can't believe they thought of that. As
Was that was right
I
after?
thought it was. What?
That was right after. Right?
Yeah,
It's just a callback to when he and MJ were up there, like
in the beginning of the
early in
movie.
the movie.
Yeah.
So he's up there with. They come and meet him, and it's like it's a nice moment.
The three Spider-Men talk. They're like, yeah, my Uncle Ben died, and yeah, Gwen died, and
I thought they did that well.
I think that was like the scene I wanted to see. I didn't just want them to be like in there for like the action scene at the end. So I'm happy they like did this first. I thought they did all that super well.
They did come in a lot earlier than I expected.
Same. When I saw
I was
that, I was
very
like,
happy.
hot damn.
All the characters I thought acted how they should. They like the writing seemed right.
There was really
I didn't notice any huge like where I was like that doesn't seem like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. But also they're in it
Have
for
you ever
20
watched
minutes.
one of those like summary movie like those YouTube videos that summarize a movie?
No.
They're like movie recapped, and it's like 15 minutes, and they just go over the entire story of a movie. No,
Sure.
No, I usually
This
like watch
movie-
movies.
this movie felt like a recap of like a 25-hour like series, which I guess it like in a way is. But like you know what I mean? Like it felt
No.
like they were skipping over small parts and just it was just big thing after big thing. So it was like hard not to be entertained. But I mean, I'm just saying it felt like there was no like nothing really small was happening because they literally didn't have time for it. They had like
Yeah.
these
Like-
huge actors and
Like them skipping out on the trial stuff that
Oh.
kickstarted the movie.
yeah.
The beginning was no doubt extremely rushed.
Yeah.
But once all three Spider-Man are together, they go to the Statue of Liberty.
No,
No?
Yes.
Not
they-
not
they did a
immediately.
lap.
They go to the lab.
Oh, I forgot about that. And they're like, oh, you have organic webbing.
That's funny.
There were a lot of funny lines.
That was a good scene. I thought the one of the
chemistry.
few well written things is the chemistry between the three
Very
Spider-Men.
good.
I
Andrew
think
Garfield, I think, like you're saying, he did a really good job.
I think he was like
acting.
if they didn't have like a really good actor to do that, I think it would have been awkward. Because on Toby's end, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was a little
was-
bit weird.
It was just weird, but
He
I
was
don't like.
acting differently a lot.
Also, he's just like, yeah, but I don't think he did like a bad job acting. I think he just.
I think he did the role like just enough, or like
I agree.
he
Yeah.
did it. He
did.
filled it. Maybe he could have.
It felt like the character. Which was good.
Should have been more goofy.
A little bit.
But
he's,
also,
like, grown.
yeah, he's like a 50-year-old man.
No.
Which is, it's weird. Like, why were the Spider-Men taken out at such different times?
I guess. Well, I guess they took the villains out right before they died because that was the only time they knew. Because they were.
But Sandman.
Sandman was
I don't
alive.
think I don't think time makes.
I don't think
sense
there's
when you're
any
talking
like
about
way
multiverse.
of.
It
I think
could've
they literally
been-
just took these characters out at random points.
Yeah.
For Toby, it's been like 20 years. I thought he was gonna say that him and Mary Jane have like kids or something.
They kind of hinted at.
Yeah.
They said it made
He
it
said
work.
it's complicated though.
Well, yeah, but he said they made it work.
That's good. I'm happy to hear he's doing well.
And then Andrew Garfield says like, "I'm like relentless."
Yeah,
No.
he's not doing. I would imagine he's not doing well, His movies got canceled. I'd be pissed
That's
too.
probably why they gave him that, like...
And
After Sony dropped me, I've been killing people. But I mean, also they did leave him at a very terrible place. He had just, dropped the ball.
The
Nice.
girl.
yeah, that was
Ball is a
I
girl.
was kidding.
that was good. Everything between the three of them was about what I wanted and
Yeah,
expected.
So they get out of that lab, and
And
they go straight to the Statue of Liberty. Is
He
that what
like,
happens?
he
Yeah.
like FaceTimes Jameson.
Oh yeah, he does a little
tells him where
message.
to come.
It's like Wonder Woman.
I don't know how all of them saw it, but like, how did Lizard see it? Well, I just
He
wish
did
they,
swim from the ocean.
Yeah, where was he? I just
Where were
thought-
any of
He
them?
was probably in the sewer, so it doesn't even make sense.
It did play on every screen in New York City.
I guess
So
so. But you think if we look at their older movies, the Lizard's plan would probably be to make the Lizard formula again, and like do all that.
Is he really? I don't think he was trying to turn everyone into lizards.
I think he was.
Did they ever say anything about
What
that?
was his motive to like?
well, how did Toby
What
know
were any
the
of their
formula
motives?
to cure?
He's really smart now. It's been a long time, right?
Wait, Andrew or Toby?
Oh,
For
it's
what?
a Green Goblin.
Toby to Green Goblin. Yeah.
Probably-
He said
he
I've been
probably-
thinking about it.
He's
for a
been thinking
long
about it for a while.
time.
Yeah.
That
Did he
makes-
know that? I guess
He,
was that on the
pretty
news?
smart.
I'm not
he
gonna
Did he know
question
that he
that.
got like?
Technically, no. Like, there's no way.
But he knows
But-
Harry was using the same like formula to get his powers.
I'm sure there's a million different explanations
Does he
for
work?
But
how.
also, they have a little magical box in the back room. They can make anything? Question mark.
Oh, yeah.
The
Got destroyed.
The fabricator.
Yeah, he's
destroyed.
like, "Oh, Happy, why is this in your apartment?" And then that becomes like such a weird element of the movie.
They didn't even need to do that.
They didn't need to do shit.
Wait,
in
what
their
do they?
apartment.
What do they make with that? It's the
They
Dark
make the
Space
Electro
Dark.
thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
oh.
Electro thing, Dr. Ock, Chip, and then Green
The
Goblin
Green Goblin
stuff.
but it doesn't work.
Oh, oh no.
If they just focused on the villains in between, if they would have done like a kind of like back to back, like where they show like the Spider-Man and then they show what the villains are doing, and kind of do that back and forth up until the final battle or like.
That
the
probably wouldn't have been a
climax,
bad idea.
That would have been good.
Yeah.
They wasted so much time in that stupid like rehab apartment part. That literally led to nothing.
It was just
except
such a-
Aunt May getting killed
It was just
out.
such a weird
They
like
could've just
part to
targeted
include.
Doc Ock for, like, he didn't have to be a good guy to stop Electro. Like,
It was just such a weird part to include in that movie because, like, yeah, you could have taken a little bit of time away from that and put it more towards, like, the villains, like, at the end,
Like,
or
what
like.
were they doing for the hours in between when Aunt May died and when the final fight? Green Goblin showed up at the end of that final fight for some reason.
I don't know.
Why didn't Green Goblin and Toby have like any
Yeah,
interaction?
Yeah, I really wanted that. Yeah. When they get to the Statue of Liberty, who do they fight first? Electro, or it's Electro's there, right? And Sandman,
Electro, Sandman, and
Lizard.
Lizard. Yeah, and they fight all of them, and they're like, we don't work as a team. But then they
How did
like.
Hawkeye even get over there? Did he take a boat? Would have had to.
He made his arms into a helicopter blade.
well,
Then they fight as a team, and it's super cool, and
and
it's
the Lizard was getting kicked by Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire, as
um.
everyone
I
expected.
thought the final fight
Also-
mostly like this part of the fight looked like pretty decent, except for Tom Maguire looked a little off. The
I
coloring
agree.
like on his suit was like too
Too
bright. It also you could just tell it was fake. I like don't know.
It looked pissed.
Well, it just looked
I mean,
fake,
it
like
makes
all
it
the
more-
like all the MCU Spider-Man movies do.
Darkening it makes it look more real.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they wouldn't do that in the first place.
I thought Andrew Garfield's though looked good for the most part.
I'm gonna assume that's because they use the same like model.
That's what I was
Maybe
thinking for
from-
the Lizard. I don't know how any of this works, but shouldn't they have like
This was
the
from-
model like from the?
I would imagine they would collaborate with those.
people
I don't know.
creators.
Did Sam Raimi have like any input on anything in this movie? He
The
surely
writing
had.
wasn't even fucking like I don't think so.
There was a part in this scene where like he's talking on when they're on the roof, and I was like, that feels like something like he could have written. I don't remember what it was though.
I guess
Who?
Sam
Sam.
Raimi.
Who is?
What?
Director of the original Spider-Man trilogy.
Is he in this?
No.
Oh my god.
No.
The
Because I was saying
director
I
of-
wonder if
what?
they like had
Also,
any.
like,
I was saying.
creative inputs.
I'm saying if you had any like input on like writing like writing Toby and Andrew and like their villains and stuff.
Did you write those movies?
Yeah.
Holy-
And I was the great and powerful.
They get Mark Webb.
Cringe.
That movie sucks.
I don't.
I mean, it's like.
That's the most forgettable movie I think I've ever seen.
Mark
Okay,
Webb can stay
alright.
far away from writing Andrew. I will take anyone else over him.
So, like I was talking about in Endgame, final fights being cathartic.
What does that mean?
It means payoff in the
Yeah.
fights. So like when the shield comes crashing down and you see it roll halfway into the ocean, and then later they fall onto that shield that was almost in the ocean and have a fight scene on it. That's cathartic. It's payoff.
It was
You know your surroundings. You know
Not
where
sure
everything's
payoff's the
happening.
word I would use for that, but I'd say it's logistically like
you know
consistent.
Where, you know where
Satisfying.
everything's
Yeah.
like being fought. You know where every character
Yeah,
is.
I liked where the very
I think
ending
that
was.
was. Pretty well organized.
Doc Ock
Endgame
comes.
is the opposite of that.
Doc Ock comes and saves them because he's a good guy. And then what
He's a good
they
guy.
defeat Sandman, but not really because I don't know why he was fighting in the first place.
Yeah.
And then he has a conversation with Tobey Maguire.
And they're stuck in that thing, and then somehow he gets out of it, and then they leave.
All
Sandman.
the sand disappeared.
Yo, I forgot because there was like such a long part where they're like cracking jokes at each other, about like their different villains they
I
fought or
did
whatever.
like that part.
That was funny. The rhinoceros thing.
There's a Russian guy in a rhinoceros suit.
They're making jokes, and then but I like forgot that Sandman. We
And
both did.
He's like, he's like, I'm so lame compared to you guys. I was like, you're amazing.
You're amazing.
See that moment, Toby to Andrew when he was like, "You're amazing," and then later on when Tom Holland's about to murder Green Goblin and he catches it and just like gives him a little like Toby smile.
That was perfect. That was like what I wanted. I don't know why Sandman was fighting at the end, but they play the like theme when Toby's talking to Sandman, and they play the amazing theme when Andrew Garfield's talking to.
Why didn't they do it when they like?
Electro.
They should have done that when they did like something like cool, like fighting.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be like a fight, like a one shot like fight scene thing for a sec, where like you see all three of them and like it goes to that one and plays their theme, and then like goes to that one and plays his theme. I mean, I'm still happy it was included, but yeah, I would have chosen to use it at a different part. And then Electro was like, "I thought you were black,"
And
and
I was like, everyone
yes.
in the theater.
He's like, you're
clapped
from
to that.
Queens.
you say
You
poor
help-
people.
Yeah.
I thought you were
I
black.
thought you'd be black, yeah.
And then
And every which.
He's
And then
"There's
he's like,
gotta
"There's
be-
gotta-"
there's got to be a black
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
And then
Yeah.
everyone clapped after that.
yeah,
Miles.
he'll be there.
Somebody's like, boo.
He'll be there. Maybe Donald Glover will be in another one at some point.
I hope so.
Then Green Goblin comes and Peter,
Well,
him and
No,
Peter
no,
fight.
before that, the
Oh yeah, that was like
That was one of my favorite parts of that movie.
Yeah,
was the
they-
MJ falling. I
MJ.
think they did a great job. Like he's about to catch her, he gets hit by Green Goblin, he sees her falling,
Yeah,
and then Andrew Garfield, because they talked about it earlier, Andrew Garfield's like was a very emotionally vulnerable state in this movie, which was
Yeah.
picked
Yeah.
up directly from the last
That was
movie. And
actually really
I
good.
thought that was
that was
done
maybe my favorite
really well.
part.
I
of the
I
movie.
like fully expected it ever since the trailer came out, but it
when it happened.
did
I
well.
was like,
They did it
wow.
well.
Yeah,
and he's like crying when he caught her, and he's like, it's like actually sad. because
yeah. I also was
maybe
expecting
this-
it to be cringe, but
the
it was not.
saddest, like the saddest moment in like, one of these like mainstream movies is when she
These
died.
goofy movies.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
In those Spider-Man, well, I mean, I guess it's not the MCU, but like still, what I'm saying is like,
that's a really good
in
scene
the
and a
MCU,
terrible,
I don't
terrible
think they've
movie.
done anything sad, like because usually it's like you either see it coming or like it's just a logistics
Well-
thing and like they gotta kill this person or like.
Iron Man thing.
And that didn't make me sad. I was like, well, yeah, it
Made
makes
me
sense.
sad.
Dude's been doing
That's
this
pretty
for like 20 years.
That was like.
Okay, I think
that
you're
was
in the
like best
minority there,
character of,
yeah.
like,
That's like the
That's
ultimate.
killing
But
That's like
Other-
killing off Cade 6 in Destiny 2.
oh, and that was like
Shut up.
super well
That was
done.
pathetic 'cause they couldn't even get Nathan
I'm
Fillion
I'm
to
coming home,
file.
Ace. Is that what he says? His like kid or
I
whatever.
don't
They were
know.
kids.
Yeah, did you know that? Because I didn't know that.
Kid.
I was watching a
Remember
video
when
and
Oliver from Hannah Montana goes disappearing or goes missing in Pair of Kings, and they just replace him. He got a DUI.
Oh.
Oliver? Who's
You
Oliver?
mean Rico? Wait, no. Rico's in Hamilton.
Oh, the
Oliver.
Brady, the main guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
and they replaced him with
They
Bob.
didn't want to get the regular. They didn't want to get the actor, so they just have the back of his head as
Yeah,
he runs off
that's
into
cringe.
the forest. And they're like, I don't know, he just left, and then they just keep going.
I thought that scene was like probably my favorite in the movie. Like pretty high up there. That was
I-
really good.
I think building up to it from when they're on the top of the school and Andrew Garfield is like talking about how he like started being vengeful and he was like I couldn't save her and like all this stuff, and then he's like, and on the statue or like on the statue beforehand when Toby's like, yeah, like you're good, you're fine. And he's like still kind of down, you can tell. And then he catches MJ, and it's like
he's like down the whole
it
movie.
Completed his character in a way, and it was kind of
Yeah,
nice
it was
see.
very good.
Weird arc, or it was not weird, but it was just an arc.
It was an arc, yeah. It was like a well done side character. Not
Yeah.
even
Imagine any Marvel movie having that.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So he does that. Peter's fighting Green Goblin.
Well, then MJ and Ned have that portal open the whole time, which won't close for some reason.
Because he doesn't know how to use the sling ring. Because he doesn't know how to use the sling
I
ring.
closed the past few times.
Take it off.
He didn't. He didn't close them.
Also, why would you run
Yeah,
back
he did,
towards? Why wouldn't you turn and run up those stairs? Why did you run onto the clearly dangerous bat? So it's like your options are to like try and run upstairs into the like magic place, or you can run onto battlefield. You know when they're running from
They're at the
Spider-Man's
school.
fighting the Goblin. They are. I don't know wherever they are. You know
They're in
they could
the
either
lab.
Like, yeah. Oh yeah. They're in the
Well,
lab.
they do go in the lab, and then the lizard chases them throughout the lab, so they have to go out on the
They didn't have
statue.
to do anything.
They were being chased by a giant lizard guy.
I guess they didn't have.
Well, but yeah.
He chased them into the portal.
I'm pretty sure there was a staircase like out to the side.
They were in a lab.
But if they stayed in the school,
There's not a staircase in a lab.
Fuck.
Well, that was at the school.
Yes.
I'm sure there was a staircase somewhere.
They were in a
There's a staircase
Chemistry-
in that building. They could have found one.
They were in a chemistry lab. The lizard came he came through the portal into the lab, chased them around the room while Tom Holland tried to save him from them. He crashed into the bookcase that was right next to the door. Everything fell. They got turned back around.
You know, that scene
towards-
in the library.
I thought
that
that
was-
yeah, I
I
thought
also
that was
thought they
like-
were gonna reference them.
Yeah.
I guess that kind of was.
that was like the good scene.
Yeah.
It's a memorable scene of that movie.
Yeah.
Same
Man,
as
that
the-
movie's not too bad.
First one's
Other than like Gwen Stacy breaking her neck.
That's not bad. That's just upsetting.
Well, that
Remember
scene is
watching
really
that,
good in that movie. It's
Yeah,
just,
no.
But like, why'd you have to do that? It made me sad.
All right. Green Goblin shows up. He hits Spider-Man's.
And
Andrew
he's like,
Garfield's-
"Bah, it was your fault."
Andrew Garfield saves MJ, and then they have like the duel.
So directly after the best part of this movie is what I would say is the second best part of this movie, where he's like fighting Green Goblin, and then he gets
he's
him
gonna
down,
kill him.
and he's like literally like just like.
Well,
he's
even,
not pulling-
even
he's not
before
pulling his
that,
punches.
yeah, he's definitely not, because like when he like dodges his first like strike and Spider-Man's hand goes straight through the shield that they're fighting on, the metal shield.
Yeah.
It just puts a giant hole through it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
It like was also like dawn by this point, so it was like it was like the sun was coming up, and when the rest of the fight had taken place at night.
It's kind of
And
cool.
I thought it was good. That was like one of the only times where I felt like I've seen Tom Holland in this scene, and I was like, that's like I can see that as Spider-Man, which hasn't happened a lot in like this universe, but that was one of the ones where I was like, you're doing a good job.
And
that scene was
from
really
that
good.
point on,
Yeah,
he
for the rest of the movie.
Spider-Man
Yeah,
For the rest of the movie, which
Took him
was,
three
I think
movies.
was the point of.
that was point of a trilogy
This
of.
movie.
it's weird.
It's dumb
weird.
to do it that
It's
way,
also-
but
It is, yeah.
but once again, like
It's
where we're
dumb
at now,
only because I find it weird that they had the ability to do that. Like this whole time, they knew like they could do that, and they just decided to do. Like,
they were
the last
adamant
10
against
minutes.
not doing it. They were making a character the opposite of Spider-Man, like not mentioning any of the stuff that makes that character what it is, until they like just erase that character and like make him into the character
started
that they're adapting. And now they're gonna actually make Spider-Man movies. When the last three have been like, whatever they are.
So like, obviously none of these answers or all these questions are answered, but like, what happened to his parents? Like, is Aunt May just his mom's sister, her dad's sister? Is that why she doesn't have a husband? Is it just because they're blood or something? Like, is there just not an Uncle Ben anywhere in the picture?
I cannot believe.
You're saying like right now?
Just
like-
no, like previously.
Oh,
I just can't
'cause,
believe
like-
they didn't put Aunt May's grave next to.
I also
Well, that's
really
what I'm
thought at
saying.
the end
It's
there was
like
gonna
if
be an
it's
Uncle
just
Ben
one of
grave.
the, if it's just one of Peter's parents' siblings,
I don't think.
and
that-
she never married, then there is no Uncle Ben at all.
That's what I was confused about because it.
Well, yeah, the Uncle Ben thing. I'm like, I guess for now it did not happen.
I don't think there is an Uncle Ben.
Did they ever?
But the
Well,
the
well, yeah, the
briefcase
briefcase.
in Homecoming is weird. The line in Homecoming or in Far From Home, the line in Homecoming where he's like after everything like he's been there. What's her
She's
face?
been-
She's been through. But then
maybe she
also
had a boyfriend.
there's the line in Civil War. There's the whole thing where he like
Yeah,
says
she
that like
could have had like cancer. Like they don't we don't know.
there's
what she's
There's the
been
whole
through.
thing in Civil War where he's like, when you can do the things I can, and then you don't, and then the bad things happen. They happen because of you, which is like the abridged like line, but it's still like something happened. Also, it still doesn't change like the fact of why we don't know like why he started becoming
I
Spider-Man.
think it
Like,
just seems in this movie it seems like they erased the idea of Uncle Ben and just replaced it with Aunt May. But then
which is okay.
which is fine,
Yeah.
but it just
But it's
makes
weird how
his
they wrote-
character
But
up
they
to this
kind
point
of-
like, why is he?
But why did it take like 3.5 hours
Yeah.
of screen time?
Or why did it take 3 years or 3 movies in
Because it
6
wasn't
years?
play. It was the play. I don't know.
But
Yeah,
also,
is it-
like, why did they like kind of reference that there may have been something bad that happened to?
Because they didn't
maybe
know
a
what they were
significant other?
doing. Because they like were just
They
like,
could have been referencing Peter's parents.
yeah.
Which also makes sense.
There's just we don't know. It's
Well, they
and by
mentioned
the
Uncle Ben in the What If show.
oh
Well,
yeah.
that's exactly what that is a what if.
Well, yeah, I guess. But either way,
What if there was an Uncle
What if we
Ben?
had done it right?
it's just weird how they did it. And
Well,
anyways, that scene was really good. Toby stops
So-
him. Oh, Toby gets stabbed.
which
That
for a
was-
moment
Toby-
my mouth was wide
I was
open.
like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Everyone in that theater was like,
They
Yeah.
I mean, that was. Totally
I was scared he was gonna die, and then they cracked a joke, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, speaking. Yeah, the I've been stabbed before.
Yeah, I was
thank
like,
God.
whew.
I've
And
never
it was just
been-
like up.
Yeah.
I've never been more happy
I remember
with that.
someone earlier in the movie got killed by that.
Getting stabbed.
But Aunt
It-
May.
It was
We
surprising.
don't know if she got stabbed.
But then they defeat Green Goblin, and yeah, I was really mad there was no interaction between Norman and Peter.
It's weird.
Yeah.
They did
Doesn't
one
doesn't he
good
look at
job.
him and all he says is like, "What have I done?" At the end, right?
Yeah,
There's no like he's never
Yeah.
yeah.
and I think I'm glad they didn't like focus on all. You could have done this, you could have done that, but I mean, it was Tom Holland.
Yeah,
and
that's
that
it.
was Tom Holland's moment, especially towards the
Yeah.
end. If they had done something with someone else, like, you know,
I
they
think
already
the
tied
two
up
Spider-Men
Kevin.
were well used in terms of like furthering
I think
Tom's
they were used literally
story.
like kind of really good. I was pretty impressed with what they like. I don't know
Well,
how
because
they executed it.
yeah, going into it, I didn't think they were gonna be used at all. Honestly.
in my opinion, I don't think they should have done that. But like,
Well, that was never.
I mean, I wouldn't have made a multiverse movie, but I'm glad that it and got us to where we are. Also, I mean, it was cool seeing all the like old villains, even if they weren't.
yeah.
It doesn't make any sense,
No,
and
it
the
was
writing.
cool. It was.
It was cool.
I will say I enjoyed every second of that movie. But like even when we were all like looking at each other like, why did they just do it? Like during the MA thing, we are all like, are you serious?
Still
When she said that line, like I was like looking around the theater and there was like, well maybe like 2 claps.
I think people were just sad.
Yeah, the person like down to the left was like sniffling.
There were a
like,
lot of
they
tears, like, after that
crying.
scene.
I was like, that's why I turned,
There's
and I was
no
like, if you
connection.
cried at the Aunt May like death scene, you're quivering.
I just wasn't
'Cause
super
it just
attached
wasn't
to
done
that.
well.
Well, if you cry at that, I mean I'm sure you were bawling at like I don't know any other movie with like a
Yeah, I
Well,
just
any
wasn't
sort of
super
emotion.
attached to this version of Aunt May. I didn't see enough of their relationship before
Yeah.
this movie to like
There's no impact.
buy it. Yeah, which
But
is
if
the other
Happy
movie's
had
fault.
Died,
if Happy had died.
I would have been bawling.
I mean,
like a
yeah, but I'm
baby.
glad they didn't. I don't want any trace of like Iron Man like gone in this universe. Like,
I still think the biggest problem with this movie is its villains. Like,
Yeah.
There's not
Yeah.
really a driving.
I
the
think
Green
that-
Goblin is like the antagonist, but they cut him out of the movie, and then he just shows up for that final fight. Like,
I think this movie was a good example of like trying to break the Marvel mold, but like being too afraid to take out that giant fight scene at the end.
They just,
you
like-
know, they
well, I
just-
wanted a fight scene with like all
I
three
don't- I'm not
Spider-Men
saying
and
they
like
They
don't
just
need
weren't.
it.
But
The villains just weren't hashed out. Like I don't know the reason why the lizard wanted to stay in the van.
I mean, yeah,
he just
yeah.
all of a sudden starts saying it's starting or somewhat.
yeah, the
Yeah.
the villains the villains
They
all
were all
felt
crazy.
extremely like
I don't think
half
it made
baked.
sense,
Yeah.
actually. It was when Jameson showed up and he's like, it's starting.
Yeah, that was weird.
What is starting?
I think that's that and like the rushed like beginning, like as like a follow up. There was a follow up to Far From Home.
But let's continue.
What happens?
Because
So he
right
makes
after
he
he
makes the
goes-
deal with
he-
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, and
Mephisto.
then he goes down to say goodbye to the two Spider-Men.
I really liked that like shot of them, or when they all three hug.
Their hug,
That was
the spider
awesome.
hug.
I really like the shot of like the two of them when like he like swings away. It was like the two of them like kind of passing the mantle to him. I was
Yeah.
like, that's cool.
You're in a lot of pain, aren't you?
I liked that a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
And then he goes to say goodbye to Ned.
that was like
and MJ.
I think everything after, like, just after that, like, fight scene, and the fight scene was fine, but, like, everything after that was, like, pretty solid and or perfect.
when after the like big fight at the end.
Mhm.
Yeah, the entire like Green Goblin fight at the end to like the rest of the movie is perfect.
I just wish the Green Goblin, like, was built upon a little more. But
Yeah, but I mean also like
I mean,
none of the
his
villains.
villain-
Yeah, it's not his like Spider-Man. It's not his universe. He's literally just like pulled him to have a villain, which.
he doesn't have any connection to this guy.
Whatever.
So yeah, well none of them are like good villains for this Spider-Man, but that's also like not the.
Some
Well, that
crazy
is the
dude that
point because
blows up
it's
the-
weird. I don't know.
But then they save the world. Everyone forgets about Peter.
Yeah, so he makes a deal. It's basically
Deal with the devil.
one more day.
Maybe.
Deal with Mephisto.
And then we see his like new life. He goes to the oh yeah, he like moves into some like
Which I like.
that was awesome. He's like
Everything he
Isn't
was
that
doing.
after?
either way.
He
It's
does
like
MJ first.
well the MJ thing happens. He's like I'm gonna like try and like talk to her and like rekindle my love. But then he's
He
like, wait,
does,
maybe
and
I
it's, like,
shouldn't.
Kinda working,
But
and
then
then
he
he
sees
sees
her
the
happy.
band.
Yeah, that was like super
And he-
well done. I really
I
liked
thought
that.
I thought that like it's weird how well written the last like
That's
10
yeah.
minutes of movie.
I just felt like someone else that like actually understands the
Better
character
director,
made the last 10
or better
minutes. Yeah.
writer.
That's what I was
I don't-
confused about. It's because like that banding thing was like
You would expect
that
it
was
to
a
like,
good. That was
Yeah,
good.
it was
Not-
great. It
because
was-
You
he,
would
like,
expect it to
reminded-
go like downhill. Like he was gonna like say something fucking dumb at the diner. And
Yeah. Or that he makes some like dumb joke or
But
something.
But
then
then
he,
it
like-
actually was like serious.
Yeah.
And it was
It was super well done.
grew
The
up.
There
ending.
was no like Marvel jokes. That didn't feel like a cheesy Marvel movie. That felt like an
Yeah, it
actual.
wasn't a
movie.
Were
joke.
they
in
were
the
they all
last 20
getting
minutes, that was,
shawarma
like,
at the
best.
end?
Well, that was okay.
And that was a good joke.
Stop hating on the shawarma. What are you talking about? Come on.
I don't think Avengers is like a. I mean, I like that movie, but it's not like a It's still kind of a funny movie.
Yeah.
It's not like a serious movie.
Take away the suit. Who are you?
The movie's
That is
really
a
good
cool-
though.
That is a.
The movie's full of a
that's
bunch of really good lines. Also,
good
it's just like
lines.
extremely well written and like brings all the characters
Seems
together
like they
super
were like
well.
genuinely like enjoying. What
Had,
they were
like,
doing at that point,
chemistry and-
before Disney started cranking out content for money.
And then so that part was excellent. And then he moves into some like trashy apartment,
Which is good.
which is
Which is what he should.
so yeah. And
he's
then
being like more of an adult, and he doesn't seem like this kid anymore.
Mr. Stark, yeah, that's all done. He's
So,
poor.
even though he should still be in high school, so he's got to go back to high school.
Well, that's why
to finish
I think he didn't. Well, that's didn't you see the GED book?
Yeah.
What did that
That's like if you don't complete high school, you just get your GED.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense.
So he's an adult now. He's like he's poor. He doesn't have like he makes his own suit at the end,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
he swings into
That
this.
scene, that like scene of, or like not, I guess they didn't make a scene of him making the suit, but that like whole idea should have been at the end of the first one.
Yeah, but
I don't want that anywhere close to any of these movies. Actually, I just like to think
Well, I'm
that,
just saying.
that is like, as far as I'm concerned, this movie started or like, Tom Holland is now Spider-Man.
yeah.
And it started about
But it's
10 minutes to
oh my
go.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's dumb that it took this long, but once they get to that scene was like,
All's
yeah, let's
well,
go.
you know.
That scene was great. At the end, he like him making his own suit, and also the new suit looks
That
sweet.
looks cool. We didn't
Looks
get,
very
like, a-
cool. Yeah, it was kind of hard to see,
Like
but
it's
it's
good.
the blue was like super shiny. He still had the like. Do you have the retractable eyes still?
I'm sure.
I think he
I don't
did.
see why they would take that out.
I thought
The
those were
the
cool.
spider symbol was like super different. It wasn't all.
It was like the Andrew and Toby one. I'm pretty sure. It looked.
The
really
Andrew
similar.
one is like really long, which is
Well,
weird,
was
but
the
it's like
Toby one more.
it was kind of similar to the Toby one, but it was
I-
like it was new and it was different, and it wasn't like the tech like
Oh,
spider
yeah.
symbol from like the Homecoming Stark. Every suit he's had. It was it was the last like and like the final swing was like shot well, and like the one in Far From Home was like all one take.
Still
it looked
disappointing
good.
that He didn't even swing through the city in this movie.
Well, he was at the end.
Yeah, what?
At the very end.
Yeah.
That was like the end of the Far From Home. I'm saying like, you know.
I mean, yeah, but also it's like an adventure movie, so he's not really staying like in New York.
I don't think it's a terrible thing. I don't know. That's just like
I just like how the other movies they have like a direct focus, not a direct focus, but like some sort of focus on him,
the scenery.
how he like flows throughout the city,
Yeah.
and him like traveling through there. But they never.
Maybe the new ones will
show
do that.
That's what they should
Well, they all those fights happen at a
specific.
location.
Yeah.
One happened at the Statue
Bridge?
of Liberty, London Bridge, and then
No, that's not even what's talking. I'm talking about the overpass.
Oh yeah. And he does the Andrew
Sorry,
Garfield
yeah.
thing. where he
oh, I
catches
just
the
mean
car.
in the trilogy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I guess the last one is just like a random beach, but like
Oh, yeah,
it's
where you
also
can,
at
like,
like
swim.
outside of the amusement park.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, it's
Good
something I would have
talk.
liked to see more in these movies, but I'm glad that at least going based off the end of this one, it looks
Glad
like
they're over. this
Yeah.
trilogy.
I mean, yeah, I am too. I'm glad that like this adaptation of Spider-Man is like reached the point that is really good now.
Overall, this movie suffers from a bad case of what every Marvel movie suffers from.
I don't
which
know.
Is the I
think it just.
If you say fight scene at the end, relying on a fight scene.
Where you say
I was gonna say the writing is like whatever.
I think it suffers
being too much on its plate. Just because.
And that too.
I think it's
trying to juggle too many characters. Like in these recent Marvel movies, they just have all these characters that are all these like important people, and like Tony Stark's in the Spider-Man movie, and like.
Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange wasn't in it like
Enough.
nearly as much as compared to like Nick Fury and Iron Man.
I think
it's not about.
It's also not about them.
Recent Marvel movies have not had 8 characters to like.
Okay.
Eternals. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Shang-Chi, Black Widow.
Shang-Chi, I think, was a good
Endgame
one. Black
did
Widow
because
did
it's
that.
the Endgame.
I think it's extremely similar to Endgame, where like the emotional moments and the character moments are all done extremely well and super well, and there's like pretty decent action in it, but it also suffers from things that like break the universe, don't make any sense, and like a bunch of dumb typical like Marvel jokes. I just think, but like Endgame also was like satisfying to watch, and I like.
But the last 10 minutes didn't feel like a Marvel. I'm just saying.
I didn't
when
think
you're
it
watching
was-
a movie and you're like, this is a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Like you can just tell.
I didn't think it
love
was
it.
because it had too many characters. I think they just didn't try to flesh any of them out.
Well, I don't think they should. Like, I didn't really need like
You don't need to know what they were doing. You just need to know that they were pulled from before they died, I guess. But like,
it was
stuff
done.
like
It was like messy, but that also wasn't the point. But is that okay?
But the whole point is like all of the villains were just half baked.
Yeah.
Like they just weren't like hashed out at all.
Like,
But that
They
wasn't
were
because
raw.
they had too many. Because they only had
They didn't
5.
explore them. They didn't explore them whatsoever.
But they're also not like the like.
I know they're not the point, but that's what I'm saying. You have to split up the time between the heroes and the villains, but they focused too much on the heroes at the end that there was no time to flesh out the villains for them to even be like a coherent like threat against the heroes. It's like these guys don't want to go home.
They're just like they're not even.
But then they don't even explore that because they don't show.
I didn't-
them,
Like
being,
why
scared.
is Sandman fighting Spider-Man?
Yeah,
It
I didn't
He's his
need.
only, like,
I didn't need
way
them.
of getting back home.
I guess I didn't need them like fully like super in depth, but I needed a little bit more, and I don't think that's a lot. I needed like more from Sandman, like
That
why
actually
he's doing what
makes
he's doing.
No sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
In
need.
Iron Man, they don't explain why the terrorists like being terrorists.
Well, because
That's because the guy hired him, right?
The Ten
Well, no,
Rings.
They were just terrorists in general. Like.
well,
like,
yeah,
some people,
but
they
like
just
they have to
need-
have a motive. The
they
motive
have-
is
They don't have a motive.
They have like a political agenda in those movies.
Terrorists?
Terrorists have a
Yes.
political agenda.
In the Iron Man movie,
That's
I know
just
that
a
from
general
real life,
terrorist.
not like
Well, it's like stopping a bank robber in a movie. Like, do you know his motive? Like in real life, bank robbers, their motive is to steal money. But in that robber, it could be because his daughter has leukemia and he wants to like get
If
money.
the
or something.
motive of the character or the villain is expressed, Sandman wants to go home with his daughter,
yeah.
so he shouldn't.
and Spider-Man is the only reason he can get back home. Why is Sandman fighting Spider-Man?
Okay, that does not make any sense.
They fucking butchered Sandman. It's ridiculous. Like,
It was just
if
weird.
they're not gonna do Sinister Six, do Sinister Four rather than adding that 5th character that doesn't add.
Yeah.
anything
Yeah,
to-
he
it
did
takes
nothing.
away from the movie.
Yeah. I just think the like
Maybe
not like I don't need like a lot on the villains, but I need a little bit more than what they
if they
gave.
done, like, 3.
And if they had done that, like maybe like at least like giving them a little bit more
Goblin.
screen time instead of like and maybe cut down a little bit on the zingers in the apartment.
It seems like they just don't. They have like these movies have like so many different things they've got to do, and it's getting super complicated. And like
I guess they are.
they're required to like have like this, and this. I'm sure like, you know, they've got a complete because like the Doctor Strange movie starts right after, so like they've got to set that
Yeah.
up, and they can't like go back on anything they
But
said or
did
done.
this one even like add to any of it? Because they almost did the multiverse by themselves.
Oh, yeah,
but
we
then
didn't-
they closed it back up.
We didn't talk about the villains at the end when it's the multiverse is opening
That
up.
was cool.
That was a fun little reference. It
They
was a
gonna
giant
fall-
scorpion.
They gonna fall out of the sky.
I don't know what's gonna happen.
What are they coming from?
They weren't
They
even
all
like
died.
like characters. They were just like silhouettes.
Rhubarb
Yeah.
It would have been cool if they like actually showed them.
just falling out
Yeah.
and dying.
Well, also if they use those villains in the future, they probably don't want to like show them at all.
But
Like,
it was like variant stuff. Like the Rhino costume was like a 1 by 1 of like the comics.
Yeah.
Like pretty much. And the scorpion costume.
Scorpion, like when they first showed it, was literally just like a scorpion. It was super weird. It was like the
Yeah, I
animal,
couldn't
the
tell.
scorpion. I was like,
I didn't
what
know
is
what that
that?
was until you said like scorpion, and then I was like, oh wait, that was like the tail.
Yeah,
And I
it
was
looked-
oh my
I thought
gosh.
it was like an emu or something.
A what?
What
You got an emu?
Oh, the bird?
Emu?
Is
The
that an emu?
ostrich?
That's a bird, right?
An emu?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both of them. Yeah.
The emu?
The
in
emus
Spider-Man?
are like smaller than ostriches, but like
I
about the
just
same
want to see
thing.
a screenshot of like that whole like banister.
I'm sure there'll
Yeah.
be a movie or a YouTube video that comes out. that'll be
Or
like, Easter eggs that you missed in the Spider-Man.
there may have been
7,000
like
Easter eggs.
extra footage they included of like the thing at the beginning that they like shot, but maybe they were forced to cut it down to like 2.5 hours or something, or
That's
something like
actually-
that. So, like I don't.
But they let Eternals be longer than that. That fucking
I do
shit
think the
movie.
like
They
weakest
had
parts.
to fit the sex scene.
I do think the biggest like weaknesses of the movie are like
first
the
sex
lack
scene.
of like anything like a lot of the meaningful stuff with the villains. The beginning being a little rushed, and
It's
then
not
the
like they didn't have time
middle
for that.
like meandering and like some of the typical Marvel writing.
Why meander when you can explore the villains?
But other than like those kind of big things,
But
I
do you
thought-
want to set like a precedent for the rest of Marvel movies to be like, if you want to, you can make it 3 hours, because that's like
Well,
getting
I'm
a
not
little
saying they had to add on
ridiculous.
time. I'm
Well,
saying
they are. They
wasted
keep
time.
telling these
But
giant stories that they need like.
That movie it's ridiculous that even got
you
made.
should just do
as
part
one
one
movie.
and part two.
Yeah.
But
Like Eternal shouldn't have been
That's-
one movie.
that
That
would've
should have been like a Disney Plus show or like
Yeah, of all
something.
things to not
That
be a
shouldn't have
show.
been like a 2.5-hour movie.
yeah, why couldn't they make a WandaVision movie? Well, that doesn't make
WandaVision.
sense.
A WandaVision movie.
Why wouldn't they make like a Loki?
Oh, Baby Yoda.
They could have made a Loki movie.
Loki. Do
I would have seen it.
You don't think so?
I don't know.
I-
I didn't want a
What-
Loki show, let alone a Loki
Oh, no.
movie.
So what
Rather
did
see a
what did
Loki
everybody like tear up at?
The
The
well, you go first. I don't want to embarrass myself.
I'll go first. If you
I'm
go
kidding.
the only thing I teared up at was when Andrew Garfield saved MJ.
Same.
That was really yeah.
I didn't
'Cause I was
tear
like,
up.
oh.
I was
I
just
teared
like,
up.
oh, man, that's
Well,
really-
because when he
It's
started
his like
crying,
reaction when he gets
yeah.
down there and he starts crying. I was like, all
I
right.
I was
it's
like,
it's like this weird like thing where he's like acting really well, I guess.
Yeah, and he like actually makes you feel
Well,
something.
also like it is like
and it's a hark back to
it's
like the
an-
because
another
immediately when
moment
that
I
happened,
cried from was when she
Yeah.
died in the
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
And also Andrew Garfield's just like a cool guy. He's like relevant. He's like just like a very likable actor. He's a good actor.
I am mad that
He's just like a solid like all around guy. Everyone likes him. He's a
yeah, I
bunch of really
endorse
good movies.
everything that he's ever done.
Should we leave a rating on this?
Wait, we gotta talk about the post-credit scene and then like
Well,
do our ratings.
Was
and-
there like a someone mentioned like a what the hell moment or whatever? Like I remember when the two other Spider-Men met each other in Ned's house
That's cool.
and like they like looked at each other. I don't know what
You
you, were
lost
thinking.
it?
No, because we both were like what's about
Yeah.
to happen. I was about to like scream because for some reason the Uncle Ben thing was like in the back of my mind. I thought Andrew
Uncle
Garfield,
Ben?
I thought Andrew Garfield was about to be like Uncle Ben. I was like, there was no way this is about to happen.
I thought
I
when they were
also
on the
thought
like
that was
the
about to
roof,
happen.
there was about to be like when he looked at him, I thought he was about to say like Uncle Ben or something like that, and I was about to be like
But
ah.
unfortunately, they deleted him.
Didn't you- at one point I facepalmed for something. It was something that had been called and I was upset about it. Maybe it was.
Something
Oh
of a
no, it was
scientist
the great
myself.
power comes great
I
responsibility.
didn't. I was like, I'm glad they said it, but I was like, it just her delivery and yeah, we already talked about
I
that
was
scene.
like, bruh.
I didn't think it was like bad. I just think it could have been done better. It didn't hit like it should have after waiting like 6 years for that
It
line.
was the pacing of that scene was all
Oh,
over the
yeah.
charts.
Yeah.
I think it was really funny seeing all the leaks like lined up.
Seeing them when everyone pointed at the screen during the Andrew Garfield one, that was like an experience that I don't think I'll ever have again. Like the universe, like
There's that one picture of him,
Of him-
holding
yeah.
the bar. Everybody,
That
like,
everyone's-
everybody kept questioning about it. He's like, is this real?
everyone.
He's
It like was
"No."
one of the most discussed like leaks like of all time. People were like, "Is it real? Like, is it not real?" And, like Jimmy
didn't
Fallon
see
asked
it.
him about it, and then when he like did the scene, everyone was like,
I
"It
didn't-
was
I didn't know that
awesome."
was a I never looked at him.
And then the Daredevil one,
yeah,
obviously.
I
was
only saw
true.
the picture of like all of them sitting at the table with
That
Daredevil.
picture
The
was literally-
Daredevil
like,
thing was
that's-
leaked.
that
That was
can't
like a
be
picture of
real.
the like three of them. The one that was leaked with the Daredevil
That was
picture.
when he
The
was
three of
talking
them.
to Strange.
No, the three of them like at the end.
Yeah, that was when they were talking to Doctor Strange.
Oh yeah. That was, and then there was something. Yeah, we talked to you yesterday about how we were like expecting the kind of resetting at the end.
Well,
So there wasn't anything that
speaking
like
of the end,
surprised me too much because but I
I
was
just
like
can't believe they actually like
Did it?
Or not debunked.
I think
it-
did it is what's
retcon basically the past
5
in
movies.
history of Spider-Man in the
Yeah,
MCU.
I'm glad they
Well,
did.
No, but like not only in the
But also they did.
That does leave room for the villains to come back.
I like how they did it because it
Green
didn't
Goblin
like
come back.
it didn't obviously didn't erase like his
Oh,
development,
wait,
which
wait. That means Vulture doesn't know now, and that means they can do a real Sinister Six later on.
you think that's why he's in Morbius or something? He's like talking to like I wonder if like if Morbius if he's
and-
gonna like mention
and
that.
Scorpion's still in prison, but he doesn't
And now
know
the-
who.
So maybe now.
But
Yeah.
also the multiverse is coming too.
Yeah, who knows what they'll change in that? I think
So
Morbius comes
maybe
out
they'll
before
come
Morbius
back.
does
I
come out
hope they
before
don't
Doctor
focus
Strange.
on the multiverse in like every movie they make. Like I hope it. The
Well,
next
Well, isn't
Spider-Man.
that
Spider-Man
the
is
part of this
Yeah.
phase
That's why
with the
everything's
multiverse madness coming out?
I'm really excited. I thought they were gonna say like Peter was gonna go to
I
like
just wanna watch
Empire
that
State
Thor
University
movie.
at the end or something.
That would be cool.
That would have been neat. But yeah, I if they do a thing where, like he's in, if they do a
Except
thing,
for the rest of us.
I was
man.
waiting. You want this? You have it.
Give it to the poor guy.
if they do a thing,
Future time.
they do a thing where like he's in college and like he meets like he's like if Gwen or not if Ned and
I thought they were gonna show like
Zendaya aren't in like if they're not really in it but they're just like kind of mentioned like occasionally he has like a picture of them on his desk or something like
I
that.
don't think they should come back at all.
Well, at least not like if they like I don't know. It depends on how they do it. But like if they just like are kind of gone, like everything's reset. You know, he's like poor. He's basically like actual Spider-Man, as he would have been beginning in this universe, or as he should have been. But none of the stuff with like the
If they come back, I will be happy.
But it's gonna
People
be
like-
such a like.
yeah, it's gonna
So
be hard to drop
personal
Zendaya
consequence.
as like a yeah exactly.
People
So
like Zendaya too much for her to not be in the next.
It seems like
Trilogy,
they weren't gonna.
whatever.
I would love if she's not in it. Also, that would also defeat like the ending of this movie. If
Well, it
she's,
depends
like,
on
in
how
it.
you interpret the diner scene.
I think
It
that's
like,
seemed
went back
like
for
she
MJ.
was like, oh, like fucking look at this guy.
Did everyone not like? At least I got from it like, oh, she like that he could do this, but he's choosing not to.
That's
I
what
think
was-
so.
that's
Yeah.
what I was
Okay,
feeling. I
yeah,
don't
so
think
then,
they're
like,
gonna be
yeah.
in next.
That would go against what he. I need him to start learning some new lessons other than like the basic Spider-Man origin that he's been doing the past 6 years. He's got to like, yeah.
I'm also just glad they're done with the high school part because I think
Yeah.
the college years around him are like
are
way
vastly more enjoyable.
interesting.
Yeah, that's like where it gets good. He's like high school is like a very small part of like that character. Like he's like introduced there. He like does it. You know, he's bullied by Flash or whatever.
He's been goofy for 2
He becomes Spider-Man. He's goofy, but then like when he's like in college, he meets like Gwen and Harry, and like stuff gets real. Oh, the Scooby-Doo joke.
It was better than the trailer. The delivery was actually like not terrible.
Scooby-Doo this crap.
It was shit.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah.
What?
Scooby Doo this shit.
Oh. Yeah.
They did change it.
Technically wasn't what was in the trailer.
I can't
Um.
believe they even filmed that last one and called it good enough to be in the trailer.
Yeah.
I think they purposefully
I think it
make
was-
it
do
look.
this crap.
Well, it was the same thing.
this crap.
It was the same thing in Eternals.
Oh,
When
Fall collection.
Fall collection.
IKEA.
IKEA ass. But the ass wasn't in the
All right, so next time we see a Marvel trailer and there's a
Anytime they
joke,
say, poop or crap,
there's like a
they're
there's like a
like,
stupid
"Ah."
joke.
We just saw a Marvel trailer.
Well, that we'll get
Before
there.
we discuss it, let's talk.
I didn't.
The
post-credit scene?
Do we have to talk about this?
The Venom.
Yes, Chase, it's part of the movie.
That's probably a different movie.
No, I'm talking about
Well,
the
the
post-credit
Venom
scene.
one, at least.
Oh,
Venom.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he learned that at the end of Venom Let There Be Carnage,
I was
he
hoping
was
Venom
transported to
would be
this universe
I
because of the
guarantee
spell.
you that was like a Sony and Disney thing, and they were arguing whether or not to.
He
have
should like stay or
that
something.
Venom in the
Yeah,
MCU,
I'm sure they were.
And they were Disney was probably like, no fucking way, because the
Yeah.
movies are actual dog shit. So they like.
You think
joke it.
Disney has?
Yeah, I'm.
standards?
Has what?
Standards.
They have a little higher
Low.
standards than.
Well,
Venom.
sometimes. But yeah, so then he's there. He's like taught. He's hearing about the MCU, and then he gets teleported back because of the second spell. At the end of the movie, and he leaves behind a piece of the symbiote,
Which doesn't make sense.
which is
It makes
Does it?
enough sense.
They could have done. Why do they have to take it from?
Venom is like
Okay, it would be-
constantly dripping.
it would be kind of weird to like have a Venom franchise out there with like 3 movies, and it has zero relation to
It
Spider-Man.
actually has direct relation.
At least I'm happy
Does
that.
that mean Venom's gonna have the same voice as he does in the Venom movies in the
Oh.
MCU?
It's Tom Hardy playing him again. Well, that wouldn't make any sense.
Oh, that would make sense.
Who plays?
Venom.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Like, always on the
oh
screen.
yeah.
Eddie.
That his yeah, right when he showed up, I was like, oh man, it's him. It's the Venom. It's like terrible.
Well, anyways.
But that's
nothing
exciting.
else
So he's
happened.
gonna.
Nothing
You think that's gonna like be right in the next movie? Like you think he'll start
No.
college, get the symbiote, or you think they're gonna like
I think they'll wait,
drag it
as
out?
they should.
Yeah, I don't really need the symbiote thing right now. I think they should build up to that.
established in a Spider-Man, I want something grounded.
Yeah, I want like a small college,
want,
like he's
like,
in college doing his
He's in
thing.
college, and it's a story about him and his friends.
Yeah.
And then he has to fight someone too. like,
Make the villain like
Well, they're
make
not
the
gonna-
villain Scorpion, or
they're
make
not
it.
gonna introduce Harry in the next trilogy then,
Why not?
because Oscorp isn't a thing in this. They could introduce a Harry type.
Yeah.
But they can't use that name necessarily because it would be unless they like start it when Norman is like building his company. But they already, since they introduced the Green Goblin, like they never, I don't know, you know what I'm saying?
They could just have like Oscorp has existed and they've just never talked about it.
But that wouldn't make any sense. They would have heard
Why
of
not?
Norman Osborn.
Well, Norman Osborn also
Oh, yeah,
said
that's right.
Oscorp doesn't
Yeah.
exist.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
was
Well,
trying to figure out who said that.
well, that's really missing out. Maybe they'll do like someone like Harry, but just do like
Different last name.
Yeah.
Rich guy that has a dad who works in
Yeah.
a evil science.
turn it himself.
They're
into-
gonna
I
do
don't
some
think they're
weird.
gonna do a Green Goblin
Yeah,
thing.
probably not.
So I
Even
bet
though it's
they're
his
not
best
gonna do a
villain, so it's
Harry-
kind of
They
weird.
can. They have a lot of. They can pull from.
If I were them, I
don't
would.
care
I
if
bet they'll
it's-
do Eddie Brock, maybe as his friend, rather than Harry.
It'd be so weird when there's like another Eddie. Like
Eddie.
I.
He
if-
meets. He
I
meets.
feel like that would make
Well,
more sense
that,
if they
that
make
part of the
Eddie-
symbiote has to infect someone.
And then
Yeah.
if they make Eddie Brock the new friend and introduce Gwen Stacy, that way they can't really introduce Harry anymore. So that
What if he does end up fighting? So Ned
Oh,
uses his powers, he develops his magic powers, and then he
Oh,
ends up
yeah.
fighting
That's the
Spider-Man.
Hobgoblin.
That was a little joke, little nod when they said like, hey, then Ned, don't be evil or something.
And then he gets magical powers,
I want like a very small scale, actually small scale, not like what Homecoming almost is, like
Who's the Hobgoblin in the '90s show?
Roderick Kingsley. He's like some rich guy.
I cannot remember.
He's played by Mark Hamill.
Oh yeah.
That was awesome.
Alright, well-
They no, I want like a grounded like one for the next one with like a super like small stakes villain like Scorpion or something. Like yeah, bring back Scorpion and like or
Is that even gonna compare to his like past or this whole multiverse villains now?
no.
He doesn't have powers. He's just gonna.
But I mean it's yeah, I mean I don't yeah. What the post credit scene was crazy though. And the second one was just the first trailer for Doctor Strange.
We don't have to talk. We don't have to go into that. I don't remember.
It was cool.
I mean,
I'm excited for that movie.
It didn't really reveal much about the plot, especially.
It was a teaser trailer, yeah.
I don't think we should watch the trailer for that movie.
Oh, like the actual trailer?
Yeah.
It just seems like it's gonna be.
Done with trailers.
I'm
Right
done
now.
with Marvel trailers. They just lie. It's like
Not as
straight
bad
up
as the
lie.
ambulance trailer that literally.
It's just the movie in 3
the
minutes.
movie.
What
That
other
movie
movie did
looks
Dude,
so
the
bad.
guy to the left of me was like, they had me until I realized that the movie would be 2/3 of them in the ambulance, and I was like, yeah.
That movie looks.
Why did they reveal
terrible.
that?
But no, the only thing like the Doctor Strange thing looks cool or whatever. Sam Raimi's directing it, so the Spider-Man guy's directing it.
What?
The guy who did the original 3 movies, the Tobey Maguire ones.
Who's directing what?
The next Doctor Strange movie.
Really?
I bet it's gonna be really Disney.
I hope it's good. I like that Mordo was in it. Like he didn't get forgotten about
Thank God.
after his first movie, and it's cool that the Doctor Strange from What If was in it.
So he did.
It was him.
Was he green?
What? He's like,
He was kind of greenish.
you're kind of green. No, I don't think.
Green
so.
around the gills.
But any other like things to say about the
Overall
movie? Any other standouts or like any other moments that you really liked or didn't like
Still
or?
think the villains could have been better. The Spider-Men were good.
Happy scene at the graveyard was good.
Oh, yeah,
Just the
that-
whole last
yeah.
part of that movie was
Last
damn near
15
perfect.
minutes.
Damn near perfect is what I would say.
I just wish that.
That
But
plot,
also-
that plot overall. I mean, obviously, I feel like it goes without saying that plot.
Yeah.
Was off.
It was
Like,
never
there's-
gonna make sense.
There was
or
they did
be
the-
good.
Could have done a little better.
It's like they
Yeah.
did the bet. It seems like they spent maybe 5 minutes brainstorming for a plot and then put hours and hours and hours into work into making it make some sense. But they could have just chose a plot overall
Yeah.
that had a little more,
Yeah,
a little less nonsense in it.
Everything
Yeah.
was rushed.
It's just weird that this even exist. So they took like these villains, like a 20-year-old
Biggest
movie.
scam in the
They're like, you
cinematic
like these
history.
villains, like oh, and look, it's like, which it's cool, but like
During that movie,
I don't know.
remember like I had a thought and I was like disappointed overall in like where movies have kind of gone to, or like
or it's
this
just like
and
fan
Endgame, where
service.
it was like, I mean, I'd rather just watch a movie.
It's
You know, like that wasn't a movie. That was like it was kind of a movie, but it was really just like all your favorite characters kind of meeting up. Really, like we know they're
Yeah.
gonna fix it all. Like
But there's also
pretty
like
sure
the
everyone
actual
will.
like good movie moments in there too. It just isn't a plot of.
It's just fan service in an
Naturally.
attempt to save what is like a failure.
But
It's-
it
I would
did do
say it was a
really
successful
well.
attempt.
Yeah.
In
They
the fan
did
service.
make-
It's
they
just
do
the
good with
question
the
of
fan
like
service.
if
Maybe the best
doing
fan
that.
service I've seen in
It's
any
such a
movie
cheap.
ever.
It's such a like
It is
cheap
cheap.
blow.
Yeah.
It's, but it worked.
I think at least
I would say
like
it's cheap if it like at least added to
Probably
the
was
story,
not
and then they also
But
did
no,
it.
yeah,
well.
it did add to the story, which I thought was like.
I
And-
guess, but it wasn't even like it didn't make any sense.
Oh, was he supposed to take on 5 villains at once by himself?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like in that trilogy, it doesn't make any sense where it lands because it should have.
It is not a cohesive trilogy in the as like a 3 movies telling a story or telling like multiple stories or telling a character. That
High
is
school's been crazy.
it is
My
like
homecoming's date's dad turned out to be a super villain.
It is
going on to a trip.
a like a
Everyone knows
huge
I'm
mess.
Oh, the multiverse is
The
broken
mul-
open.
yeah, it is like
It's
disgust.
not as bad as the Star Wars, the new sequels, but it's
That's
like-
true, but it's the same like
It's like
idea.
in between.
Actually,
I
wait, it's
actually-
extremely similar. Where the first
that's
one's
what I
like
was
decently
about to
solid, then
say.
the
I
second
can-
one like goes a completely different direction.
Except
The
they
people,
saved
And then
the last
It,
one.
Yeah.
That was I was thinking. The same
yeah, except the second one goes in
And the
direction
third
people
one
don't really jive with, and the third
tries
one
to save
tries
it,
to
and it's
literally bring back
massive.
villains from a movie in the early
did.
2000s, and then they bring them back,
It was the same
and then
in this
Listen.
massive effort, they like try and pull it all together and
It's
save
all Disney does.
And it's all
it.
over
Oh my God,
Disney.
yeah,
All
made by the
Disney.
same person.
it is. But I do think this was done a lot better. Also, this
Oh,
We
like
learned.
Yes.
this,
They somehow learned. They
but also they
barely-
learned by literally wiping the slate clean.
which is so bullshit.
Which is like dumb that we even had to get to this point, but they made a mess and they cleaned it up. It was
I agree.
they cleaned it up in
Well,
a
well,
Unless
as
they made
well.
$3 billion.
they cleaned it up in a messy way.
That's
But
what I
yeah,
was saying.
If
It was
they
like $1 billion introduction to, like they spent.
That actual good.
if they did
part of
it
Spider-Man.
like terribly, then all people would be talking about is like, hey, wait, didn't that like just like ruin all of my other like favorite Spider-Man?
yeah, they
movies?
didn't like none of the villains for like the other. That's what I was worried about. I was worried that like either the Spider-Man or the villains would like be like
didn't save
ruined in this, and like
Yeah.
they played it like safe, which I was fine with because I didn't want them ruined. And although like
They actually made Andrew Garfield better.
yeah.
Well, that's what I said earlier. We gave him an arc.
And
Yeah.
I don't know. I am like for the first time excited to see Tom Holland Spider-Man and like
Yeah,
where
'cause
his
he's
story
actually
goes.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
2023, it's gonna come out that he's quit, and
They're gonna recast and restart.
They've.
and they're gonna do this all over again.
I know they said they're doing a 4th movie. I don't know if they said they're doing another
So they're
trilogy,
doing
but
another sequel trilogy, I thought.
did, oh, I thought that was just like the. I know they've
Oh.
confirmed a 4th movie, but
Probably
I'm-
the 4th movie, and then Venom
See what-
3, Spider-Man will be in that one, obviously.
But
and
is he
then
going to? 'Cause
I don't. Yeah, I don't. I used to think that till a couple hours
Until he
ago.
just got zapped
So
away.
That was so funny. Like he literally was here for a second just to drop off the symbiote
like,
and then
well,
leave, and he's gonna go
There's a
do.
reason why he figured out, like, they mentioned that he figured out that there's just, like, the Avengers and stuff.
Yeah.
That happened. And,
And-
there's a point to that, hopefully.
Why did you have to do it?
And the symbiote thing, like where they can like the symbiote hive mind can like see across multiverses and all that is still kind of weird from Venom too.
That
That,
didn't make
like-
any sense. So, like,
So when
was
that
he
means
teleported
he
from
knows
him
he
or Doctor
knows
Strange?
this left some of himself, and
Maybe.
Yeah, how can you have two?
so would he be communicating? And then in that Venom movie, he'll have to like he'll like go across universes to get the rest of himself or whatever.
Maybe. Or like
Find
or
Eddie Brock.
he's or that like the one in the MCU is gonna like it's gonna button on a Spider-Man and that's how like he gets the spider on his like that's how Tom Hardy's Venom gets the white spider on his chest because it's like based off Spider-Man.
Well,
There's a lot of cool stuff they
We'll
could
see.
do. We will see.
overall, what do we think? Ratings.
I don't
This
know.
is a tough.
Yeah, I agree.
Because in terms of fan service, 9 or 10. Like,
The highest I
it
would
was, it was the most fun I've had in a theater in a while.
Same.
The-
Not the most, like,
the parts I liked
Put a number
I
to it.
thought were really well done, but they're also like you got to judge it overall.
Overall, it was not a good movie.
It wasn't a
If you just
wasn't
watched
bad.
If you picked up that movie, watched that trilogy, you'd be like,
Yeah, but that also
Nothing
like
happens.
that's like watching like just if you watch just the 4 Avengers movies and then also watch like or watch 3 Avengers movies and watch Endgame, you're gonna be like, what is this? Granted, it'll be like a little bit more, but like you'll be like, why is Ant-Man like he was Ant-Man, or you know all that stuff.
That's
So
something that's a little different.
I mean, I think that like was like
'Cause that's based off, like you said.
that also
based
yeah
off
was
this
everything they built.
universe.
I thought that was like a little bit more well done in terms of like not grabbing from other
God,
stuff. But
it's hard though because I like. I mean, it makes me so happy that just
It's-
happened.
Yeah.
Because
It makes
Tobey
you look-
Maguire was just talking to Andrew Garfield.
yeah, all
and
3 of them
Tom
were like
Holland
it was
there.
all
It really
right.
makes you look past the structure
Yeah.
of it and look at the fancy.
The good, but also those moments like they weren't done poorly. A lot of them were
But
done
also-
super
also
well.
they
were
The
done
fan service,
well.
the
Yeah.
fan
So
service
it's hard
stuff was
to-
written.
Okay,
well.
all right,
I'm
right.
gonna
It was
rate
Okay,
me first.
wait, everyone can go next.
Everyone think of it before
Okay.
we start saying it because I don't want any influence.
No,
I
no,
have-
no.
I think
Are we doing
I have,
halves?
like, one paragraph.
Everyone say when you got it because here's what I'm thinking. I don't want to influence too much as to what I will rate it, but
All right, I got
right
it.
now, obviously, with like a little bit of time to look back on it and maybe thinking about the whole plot of a movie as a whole, it might change. But thinking about the good moments of this movie, it's very hard to look past.
What do you give?
What go?
I'm gonna give it a 6.
That was lower than I
Yeah,
expected.
me too. Okay,
Really?
Chase.
I was gonna say 6 or 7.
I'd say a 7.
I also said
I
7.
think a 7 is solid. It has enough good moments.
Yeah.
I would because you can't
Or 7 and a
overlook that
half,
like the
like-
last
Like
at
seven.
least third is written really well.
Yeah.
That's what I was
But like
thinking.
the whole
It's
getting
as
to
a
that
whole-
point
Yeah.
is just like
As a whole,
Maybe
this
this-
movie is like without if a movie without like it's like fan service and like all this crazy stuff that happens, like the dialogue was pretty bad at parts, like the writing
Yeah.
was kind of shit for like everybody.
Also,
but,
it doesn't make any sense.
yeah,
like,
no, it doesn't make sense. Dialogue's kind of bad. Characters are acting out of character. The like overall plot doesn't
Yeah.
make
It's
a
a lot
the
of
pace,
lick of
the
sense.
pacing, the
It's
like
really bad and
Pacing's
it's
the
bad.
beginning.
But then the very like.
But when it
last
gets
30
good, it
minutes
gets
are
really. It's
so-
like some of the best like
Yeah.
Spider-Man that has been done. The last like after the universe is reset, everything of that is better than anything from Homecoming and Far From Home.
It's better than those
I
two
would say
movies.
it's better than most Marvel content in general.
Well, especially now.
Yeah, yeah. So
In the last like 6 years.
either a 7 or a 7.5. I'm thinking around.
It's
Probably a
6
7.
and a half or 7.
I'm gonna say 7.
I used to have a 6, but it's like I don't know. That seemed high for me because like as I was watching that movie, I was like,
I never had that. I was like constantly enjoying it. I just was like,
I
that's
thought
kind
it
of
was-
weird. That's
it-
kind of
The
weird.
apartment scene just like kills me now. It, like,
it took me
drags
for
on.
it took me for Tom or
It drags on.
it took Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield to show up for me to start like relaxing a little bit, and that's like I was struggling not to just be like, what is this? Like when I was like,
I think when we watch it tomorrow, or I guess
Oh yeah.
some of us are rewatching it.
Yeah, a rewatch will definitely
Now
help.
that we know that Toby and them are in it, we're not like looking forward to something and are waiting
Yeah.
for that moment.
We
So
gotta
we're just looking directly at the plot and how that's gonna lay out.
gotta pay
bring
attention to
those
the
characters in.
the middle act or the second act in particular because I feel like that's the
I think it's
weakest
gonna be
part.
a butthole. I think the first
The stuff in the
Yeah,
first
that's a
act
good
was
point. Without,
good.
like-
It just was there was like not enough of it. Like
Without-
all the like stuff him dealing with the identity was like well done. It just there just wasn't
His
enough of it.
Interactions with Doctor Strange were a lot more solid than the trailer was making
Yeah.
it to be. But I don't know why I was even.
I just like I thought a lot of the dialogue between like I don't know, movie's a mess. Like Ned kind of gets neglected in a lot of it. I felt like.
He
Does
was
it?
neglected in the last one a lot too.
I don't feel like he was neglected more than like I don't know.
Any
He's
other
he's
side character?
yeah, literally just like his human friend that's like his best friend and
He
like
just doesn't really. He doesn't need to have a big role.
yeah, I feel like he was in it a fine amount.
Actually, he was kind of in it a lot.
He was in it more than I thought it would.
You know,
he'd be in
maybe I just.
Because he
don't
was like
remember.
there the entire time. He had to like catch the villains.
it. Yeah.
And then he was the one that introduced like Andrew Garfield and
Oh yeah, he was.
Toby.
Yeah.
That scene was cool.
They were both in the finale, like Zendaya and him at the end, in the
I
big
think-
Captain
I would say
America
he had-
dish.
he had a lot of screen time.
It was a lot of it was well done. I just yeah.
Just the first parts of it, or the middle part.
It comes
The
together.
middle parts of it, I think, is where it struggled the most.
It just didn't make any sense.
Why would he take them out of those cages? Why did
Like, he's taking them to an apartment, not even like a secure
Why did he
location.
lock Doctor Strange in there? Why wouldn't Doctor Strange hear him out? Why would he, like,
Yeah.
how would they even find those people? Why were they all in
It's
New
out of
York? Why,
character.
like,
Why were they all in New York?
That makes sense.
They're fighting Spider-Man.
Unless Tobey Maguire's on a vacation or something.
yeah.
And that's why
What about
Tom
you?
Hardy wasn't in New York, because
He was at Mexico at the
he was
end.
using Mexico.
Last-
Eddie Brock, whatever.
But when did it take?
Wait. Why
You know,
did he
the
get
people who
teleported?
took-
Who? Venom?
Yeah.
'Cause wait a second. He doesn't even know who Peter Parker is. So it had to be he teleported himself.
No, Venom. Remember, Venom's in the first 3 Spider-Man movies.
Oh, so that is the like
Symbiote.
multiverse hive mind thing. That symbiote knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. That does make sense. That's why they said that in that movie. Then
I didn't get that.
that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's so much to think about.
That's a lot of it's like a lot of like work.
But wasn't the symbiote didn't hate Peter Parker? It was Eddie Brock that.
But
No,
you
the
know-
symbiote also hated
you
him
know
because
who he was.
it rejected him, and he left him in the church.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess it makes sense.
That's a lot
I was saying all the parts are connected.
Yeah, that's what they said in Venom 2.
Maybe he just left. Maybe Venom purposefully left a little bit of himself in that universe so he could, like.
Kill him.
Well, I mean, how else would that thing gotten there?
So that was purposeful. He
'Cause, like-
he hates Spider-Man, so he actually did do that.
Yeah.
and also, I guess you can
'Cause he doesn't just like
make
rip
the
stuff.
argument that like since like symbiotes go across dimensions, that like if you left a part of it there, it wouldn't have to be like taken back to the other universe. All right, cool.
He's trying to make sense of it all.
I think it makes sense to them.
I don't know.
Enjoyable
You
movie
just
though.
start hearing people.
We got
like,
to see
make
Tobey
these theories,
Maguire
like, yeah.
one last time. You think they're gonna do like a? You think
Yeah.
he's?
His
You think they're
accent-
gonna do like an Amazing Spider-Man show or something, or like, or bring them back again in the next year? Either of
I'd be
them.
surprised that Andrew Garfield had such a pretty strong performance.
Yeah.
Maybe they'd reconsider.
I'm sure it'll be how this is like received, like what people think about
I
this
don't think
movie.
they're gonna.
Toby's,
Surely they
Toby
will.
is-
I'm sure Toby's done, but Andrew I could see like
I would
being
not be
playing that
super
character again.
surprised if it
Yeah.
came back.
That'd be really cool.
I
Or
would
also
be
now that they know the
very
multiverse is a
surprised.
thing, and like we'll see what happens in Doctor Strange, but they should be able to like access it and like go talk to him or something, or maybe he'll like in another movie he'll like go to his universe and
Maybe
he'll give
be
him like a
in,
pep talk or
in
something.
The second Spider-Verse movie.
There's a lot of cool stuff they can do in Spider Verse too. I don't think they actually bring in the other like animated Spider-Man.
They definitely will.
I don't think they own the rights to any of them anymore though.
They, all right.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. See you on the next episode for
GG.
what's the next one?
Thanks for
all of the
thanks for
movies we've
listening.
ever
Oh
seen
yeah,
in
the
year.
2021 movie cast.
Oh, God.
Movie ranking.
50 movies.
That was a casual 2 hours, I'm pretty sure.
No Way Home will just leave a link to this one. All right,
All right.
tally ho.
Nice.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks.